And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. You could be anywhere in the entire planet. Well, not really. You can't really be anywhere because of this whole lockdown thing going on, which I hope will come to an end pretty soon. But we'll get to that in a moment. You could be another place, a different place, possibly, but you're right here with me, and I most certainly appreciate you guys for that. It's a whole lot going on these internet streets, on the streets, actual streets. The Michigan protests, people have had enough. They've had enough of the draconian rules, of the unnecessary shutdown. People are just tired of the madness. They're tired of the games, and we're ready to go back to normal. Also, have you guys seen the Africans being kicked out of China? I thought it was racist to call the China virus, but somehow it's not racist for Africans to be kicked out of China by Chinese. I don't really understand what's going on. It's weird how the media is not really covering this story. And if I'm wrong about the media covering the story of Africans being ethnically cleansed out of China, you let me know. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I just didn't catch what was going on. But I did not see the media touch it with a 10-foot pole. They want to leave it alone because they are in bed with China, with the Chinese government, and all of what they do. There is so much to talk about in so little time, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get on to it. And thank y'all for watching ABL Live. I appreciate you guys as always. Please like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. It's a whole lot going on in these streets. I don't even know where to begin. Okay. Matter of fact, where I can begin is fixing my little chat box over here on my chat thing. And thank y'all for joining, of course, early and on time. You guys are great. But there is a lot happening. I'm gonna start first with this whole situation with the shutdowns. They need to come to an end. I did my video today about opening the country back up. I understand people say that they want to slow the spread. They want to do this. They want to do that. And that's fine, I suppose. That's fine that you want to protect people, but how about let me protect myself, all right? You can't say that I got to park my car and never drive it again because I could get into an accident, all right? There's a high chance I'm going to get into an accident. I've been in accidents before, and guess what? I'm still here. Guess what? I'll take that risk every day because I got to get from point A to point B. By walking outside, there's a risk of walking outside. By riding a bicycle, by riding a motorcycle, there's a risk involved with everything. With any kind of transportation, you ride on a horse, it may get tired of you, it may buck, it may just collapse, it may trip on a rock, who knows? You could fly off a horse, you could crash a car, you could crash in an airplane, low chance of that happening, different story. Anyway, there are risks associated with living life. Just because there are risks does not mean that I need the government to keep me from those risks, okay? And everybody else as well. If somebody has a low immune system and they may be vulnerable, how about the government tell us what the risks are and then let us deal with it however we're going to deal with it? If the government says, all right, if you're 65 or older, you have underlying health issues, what they've been saying throughout the whole time and it's not changed. This comes from the doctors. This comes from all the experts. This comes from everybody that is qualified to speak on it. They all said the same thing. If you are an elderly person, you have underlying health issues, then you are at high risk. Therefore, you should be the one quarantining, not the rest of us that are not going to die or get any kind of, serious problems from it. It's so simple. I don't understand what the problem is. People say, oh, you want to kill your grandmama. You want to kill your granddaddy. All right. I mean, look, how about I don't go around them for a while? If it's like that, I can't just say, well, and really, you can't be around them anyway. You still people are going to the nursing homes, standing outside, looking all sad. Okay, do that and still go to work. Like, you can go to the window of the assisted living facility, the apartment or whatever, wave to them, call them on the phone maybe. A lot of people do not talk to their grandparents that much anyway. they're not even that close with them, or they don't give them a call. Call them on the phone, FaceTime them or something. It'll brighten their day up. You don't got to be over there all in their face, coughing germs on them. That's regardless of what. I mean, even if you had the flu or something like that, it'd be the same situation. So if you want to quarantine yourself, then have that be that. But let the rest of us who are just trying to go to work and take care of bills, let us do that. That should be what's going on. And the problem is that a lot of, well, the bigger problem, the problem with the quarantining is one thing. That's the issue. But a bigger problem are these governors and mayors taking things to the extreme. Governor Whitmer up there in Michigan, prime example. I'm seeing things in Michigan being taped off, like in Walmart. You can't buy seed or side and American flags. It's like, what? If I'm going into a Walmart and that's open, right? Why can't I buy certain items in the store? I'm in the store already. Why are you trying to lock down certain items in the store? It doesn't make any sense. I'm already in here. Let me buy whatever I want to buy. So now you're trying to restrict what I can buy, when I can buy it, where I can buy it, how I can buy it. It's like, okay, what other liberty you want to take from me? You gonna be in my bathroom, tell me how to use it, how to take a shower, how to wipe my body, how to clean up my house, how to prepare food. I mean, just do everything for me. I'm just an infant. I can't take care of myself. I can't even hold my own neck up. I got to be all wobbling and moving around like that because if the government's not there, I will not be able to do it. You understand what I'm saying? We're doing way too much. I thought America was all about freedom, liberty, all that good stuff. It was founded on that, right? Back in 1776 over a small tax on the tea. You dumping the tea in the water, all this, that, and the third. The American Revolution. What happened to that? Now you can't even go get a sheet of toilet paper without permission from the government. You got checkpoints set up, or you can't go here, you can't go there. This is too much. The so-called fix for the virus is worse than the virus itself. How many more unemployed must we have on the books before we say enough is enough? 30 million, 40 million? We're approaching that right now. We're approaching Great Depression levels of unemployment. It's serious out there. I'm seeing videos all over the country of people freaking out because, their job and cut their hours. A lot of people don't really understand the whole concept of hours. People that don't work or people that have salary never really did an hourly job. They don't understand this whole thing about hours. Like, you may have a job getting 40 hours a week. You're getting paid X amount of money per hour. All of a sudden, you're down to 20 hours, then 10 hours, then 15 hours. Then you're not on the schedule anymore. The company shuts down permanently because they can't pay their bills. You got to go to businesses, patronize them, and then they have to be able to take that money, put it into the employees, put it into the building, put it into utilities, put it into the investors, put it into whatever it has to go into. And then after all of that, you draw a profit. Most restaurants, 4% margin. If you're doing that and you're making the profit, you're doing fantastic. Walmart, 3% margin. Most of these front-facing businesses do not have very high profit margins. So when you just shut down the country involuntarily like this, what you're going to have as a result are massive layoffs, or people are going to become underemployed and they can't take care of their bills. All right. I'm all for being self-sufficient, doing things that are going to benefit your family and yourself. But that's in a situation when you're allowed to do it, when you're allowed to work, when you're allowed to go outside past 8 o'clock at night. You understand? A free society in the USA is the best society. But when we become so restricted and not free, all of a sudden we're not anymore. All of a sudden, I'd rather go to China almost. Not China. That's extreme. But I'd rather go to almost a third world country than be under this strict rule to where I can't even do anything. Especially right now where I live out here in Chattanooga, we had a tornado that hit right in my neighborhood. All right. Right in my neighborhood, we had a tornado that hit. A F3 hit. Our house is fine, no damage. We had some small trees, they're like branches, really. They're not even, I wouldn't even consider them to be trees. We had some very small trees fall against the house, but it didn't really, all it did was just kind of bend down the gutter a little bit. And then once it got cut, the gutter went back to normal. So luckily there were no real big trees behind the crib that fell down. My next door neighbor, or like 2 doors down, a big tree. I'm talking about a huge tree, a base that's so big you couldn't put your arms around it. A really big tree fell like that. It fell away from the house, parallel to the street, right? If it would have fallen the other way, parallel to the house, it would have been totally destroyed. The power lines right there got pulled down and mangled. So the power lines were right in front of the third door down's neighbor's garage to where they were trapped. And it was still like that like 2 or 3 days later. People are going to be without power for a long time. Elementary school been destroyed. A church got destroyed. I'm talking about leveled to the ground. All you see is rubble. You couldn't even tell what it was before. Like 2 miles from where I live, destruction. So the traffic, oh my goodness, it's crazy. You can't get anywhere. You can't go anywhere. People don't have no power. And then on top of that, you have all of the destruction. You have all of the obstruction from the federal government, not federal, local government. It says you can't go here, you can't go there. On top of people not being able to go to their house because the road then got flooded or the house got destroyed. It's just too much. We got to go back to normal. Simple as that. Let me see. David Johnson says, dude is going to get all kind of people killed spreading this BS about going back to work. If we open back up, then deaths will jump and a lot more doctors and nurses will get sick. Well, check it out. How many are going to die from not having a job, sir? I'm already seeing crime jump up, armed robbery, bareface. People are desperate. How are you going to have people survive after this? Look at it. You got to wait, because if you're going to be in a high position of power, if you're going to be a governor, a mayor, or president, you got to make hard decisions. And I'm going to get into the whole thing about the infection spreading because of the weather later. Let's talk about this. You're going to save a few people's lives because of, social distancing and shutting down businesses at the expense of how many millions unemployed? We already got 30 million unemployed right now. How long are we going to continue to do this before we just say no more until we get a third of the nation unemployed? That might be unrecoverable. We're already spending a bunch of money to try and give a little bit of money to people. 2 trillion? How many more trillions can we spend? You're getting to the point where trying to protect people will actually hurt people more than it's going to protect them. We don't live where I live in the area where you have a real big outbreak even happening. What is the purpose? And then beyond that, we're getting into the warm months of the year. Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx both got on TV and said, hey, Southern Hemisphere, they're going into their cold months. So you're going to see cases spike. Before the cold started to come, there were no real cases. Why? Because it does not survive in the heat, sir. The coronavirus, the common cold keyword, is a coronavirus. When do you get it cold? When it's cold, right? Same thing with this thing here. So as we get into the warmer months, you're not going to have as many cases. We're going down, not necessarily because of the social distancing, because even during the shutdown, you were still having cases start to spike. Why? People are inside their house and it's cold. You're breathing in this dirty, dingy air, and people are scared. That's why it's going up, because it's cold. When it gets to be warm, you're going to have less cases of it. It's simple. I mean, if you scared, you can stay home. That's fine. If you scared, you think you might get it, you stay home. How about that? Don't put your fear on to me and my friends and family that are out here struggling. People like going in dumpsters. If somebody lost their job, lost their house because of their tornado, can't get a whole lot of assistance, what are they going to do? I'm seeing people diving into dumpsters right now. Is that safe? Diving into a dumpster to eat food, is that safe? You tell me. I just want to know. Trying to get a shirt, a pair of jeans, is that safe? The Goodwill got destroyed. Go to the Goodwill, got destroyed because of the tornado. Now what you going to do? No job, resources limited because of natural disasters, all this and that. So what are we going to do now? Come on, man. It's silly. Stop. Go back to work. Go back to normal. I'm going to keep saying that. I don't care if people don't like it. I'm just telling the truth. Simple. Okay? And I'm heated because you got a tornado happening. So people, you can't even, your groceries have been destroyed because you had no power, and you can't cook because you have no power. So you got to go to a restaurant or somewhere for a meal or to the store to get something to eat. And since a lot of the places are already shut down because they could not afford to stay open, you have limited resources available. Then places have no power. So you got to go way out. And then you got to do with the social distancing and all the restrictions they got on that. You can't go inside, and you got bumper to bumper traffic. You waiting a half hour to an hour to get something to eat. People don't understand what's going on. And like I said, people are going to get desperate as these months start to continue. As it continues on, it's going to get real ugly in the street. Okay? So you got to look at all those things when you're talking about doing a thing like, social distancing and all the restrictions on businesses, closing businesses. You got to understand what effect that will have. If we're going to stop the spread of the virus, would it be worth it to have 100 million Americans out of business, out of work? Would it be worth it? I mean, how many people do we need to have unemployed trying to beg the government for a little bit of money before we say, all right, time to go back to work? How many? If anybody says I'm wrong, what is the magic number that says, all right, enough is enough, we're doing too much? All right. Let me see. Alan says, ABL have Representative Stephen King of Iowa on my landline. Do you have a question for him? This is a townhouse meeting now. I'm not sure if you're telling me the truth, but a question for him would be, when are we going to reopen? That's all. How about that? That's the only question that needs to really be asked at this particular point. When are we going to reopen? So it's simple as that. But thank y'all for being here. I definitely appreciate you guys. If you like what you're hearing so far, hit the like button for me. That'll do me wonders. Also, share the video. And if you listen on an audio streaming platform, go ahead and give me a rating over there. Share whatever you can over there. Do that for me. And if you are not subscribed to the audio version of this that I'll put out in a couple of days after this video is done, there's a link for that in the description box below. All right. Goku says, dropping facts, people need to live their lives and stop letting the government tell us how to live our lives. Exactly. 100%. Like, let me see. Death Dealers Clan Gaming says, money is not worth my family. You're welcome to leave your house and get a real job. I mean, what is a real job? A real job is a job that pays you. You have a real job. Do you have your job now? Did you get furloughed, sir? Or ma'am, whatever your name, whatever your gender is? A real job is a job you get paid. Okay. And people are losing their jobs right now. So what do you suggest that I do? People are losing their jobs. I'll go out and get a job and then get fired because of the virus because they don't have enough money to keep on going. That's what I'm talking about. People are losing their jobs. I'm talking about them being able to keep on rocking. And you say money is not worth for your family, but what if you need money in order to feed your family, to have somewhere to live? I ain't talking about trying to be rich. I'm talking about people that just work regular jobs, people that work hourly, people that trying to get 5 more hours on their check to be able to pay their rent. I'm talking about that because I've been there. I've been in a situation where I only had $20 to my name and I had to put it in my account that night to be able to pay my rent, which I already wrote a check for. You understand what I'm saying? So I've been there in a situation where I need every hour I can get from my work. People are like that right now because of this whole virus situation. So you may be able to, maintain. I'm not sure what you do for a living. Do you make all the money in your house? Are you the breadwinner? Do you have savings? I don't know what the situation is, but people are being evicted or starting the process of eviction right now. Okay. People are needing to eat right now. People are needing to still pay their bills now. How long can we continue to say, all right, we're going to have, the forbearance, which ain't even no real thing. This whole mortgage forbearance, talking about, you can apply for forbearance, but guess what? The money that you were supposed to pay, you got to pay that at a certain time later, and you got to pay it all at once. So some kind of crazy thing like that. It's not even no real forgiveness. And then the stimulus check, how much is that really? People are behind in their bills and been behind for like the past 2 months. The check ain't really going to do that much. You got 4 or 5 kids that all need you, they all depend on you. What are you going to do? So it's simple. But anybody that feels anything that I'm saying is wrong, feel free to call me in a little bit at about 9 o'clock and we could talk about it. Because I'm ready. And I guarantee you, if you call me and try to debate me, I'm going to win, period. I won't cheat. I won't cut you off. I'm going to win a debate with this because this is something I'm really passionate about. I'm well read up on it. So you're going to lose a debate. So if you want to call me and lose a debate or try to win, then feel free. We'll do that a little bit later. But for right now, I'm just talking. All right. Yeah, because rent is still due. Your food still costs money. You can't go to Walmart and get free food. You can go to a food bank and stuff like that. But I mean, not everywhere has those resources. I've been in a place where there's no police, no fire, you understand? No real grocery store. And people are struggling already. And then on top of that, you want to fire them from their job because you want to protect them from a virus that's not even really a big deal where they live at. It's stupid. It don't make no sense. Okay. Let me see. Deaf Dealers Clan Gaming says, nah, B, I average $1.60 per hour running my company. What do you do for a living, sir? Now, if you say that you, before I say that, what do you do for a living? And then let me know. Matter of fact, tell me that and then call in later once I open the lines up. Let me see. Shout out to, I can't pronounce your name. Starts with an A, who says, yes, we need to get back to work. I'm one of those who want to get back to work. This has to be done in stages. Let's do it now. You know, it's simple. Let's do it now. We don't have time. People are already starting to ignore social distancing. They're not wearing their masks. People are getting back to normal. People are just, you can't keep people caged up in the house forever. So people are already going back to normal. It's simple as that. And, you know, the big part people are missing is that this does not have a very high death rate. You're talking about 1% maybe at the most. So even if you do get it, that don't mean you're going to die. It's like the flu. We didn't shut down the country for the flu when 80,000 people died in 2018, 17-18 winter season. We didn't do anything different at all. Nothing. No face masks, no hand washing, no nothing. Oh, ABL is not the flu. Okay, that's fine. I know it ain't the flu. I'm just talking about something different that had 80,000 deaths. We didn't do a thing. But for this, we want to just shut down the whole world. I'm tired. I'm done. I don't even care if you think anything different. Okay, you are a service plumbing company. Okay, great. Now, are your plumbers social distancing from each other when they go do a job? Like what do you actually do? Like you're the owner, but do you actually work or do you just own it? Yeah, food's being wasted because of the shutdown. That's a good question from my man Udoka. He says, if you want open, who do you put pressure on to get open? The federal government, the local? You put pressure on the local government because they're the ones that are putting the restrictions there. Your mayors, your city, your county, and also the governor. That's what you put the pressure on, for sure. Because where I live in the city part, it's more restricted than the county. The county is a little bit more loose, but the city is tight. The city says you can't be in more than a group of 5, but the county's not like that. So your local government and then your state government. The federal government is just issuing guidelines and the states implement them how they see fit. That's how that works. Exactly, John Gillian, who says, when we go to the store and shop, we close together anyway. When you go to Walmart, I mean, it's packed like sardines in there. Packed like sardines. You touching all the stuff in there, everybody else isn't touched. It's stupid. It don't make no sense. You could pack up a Walmart. You could be elbow to elbow in the Walmart, but you can't go to church. I don't understand that makes any sense. And then you could go to Walmart in Michigan, but you can't buy certain items. It's like, you already in the store. Let me buy whatever I want to buy. I'm here. What are we talking about? Oh, the prices are going to be higher, bleed the same, for sure, because people done lost money. Companies have lost money, so they got to make up for it to stay in business. Yes, it's going to be higher. Absolutely. Ain't no question. Let me see. Nolo King says Canada is look like it's going to be locked down after USA opens. It's not good at all. Yeah, my question is, when are we going to open? to those that say we should stay shut down, when do we get open? Is there an actual date, or you just say, oh, whenever we feel like it? If you own a business and you can just get paid although you don't work, that's fine. But what about those that can't? What about those that have to leave their house to eat? They have to leave their house to work. Because me, I'm fine. Like I say, like, if it's just about me, if I'm being selfish, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I could just stay here and make money. And that's what I want to do, But I'm not just looking at it like it's only me that lives in the world. You got a whole community around me that is struggling, especially with the tornado we just had. People are already, not making a lot of money because the job didn't shut down or didn't cut their hours. Then they lost their house and no power in the house. They got to pay for a hotel. It's crazy. Alrighty. But it's a whole lot going on. Let me see. Deaf Dealer says, hold on, let me scroll back up. Until you can provide service plumbers with PPE, we cannot do our jobs. DHS states OSHA is fining any businesses caught doing this. Okay, so you not working. So why you, come on, man. So you're not working right now. So if you own the business, then that means you probably got money stacked up, right? And you live enough of that. So when your money runs out, what are you going to do? How much do you have saved up? And what about your guys that work on the job? What about them? Just say F them, right? But let me get to a different topic before I start getting triggered for real. Oh, let's talk about China right quick, where the virus came from. Africans being kicked out of China because there may be a new wave of the virus happening, or they want to prevent one from happening in China. And I think it's going to be in Guangzhou, which is closer to Hong Kong and Macau, but not necessarily right up on it. Not like Shenzhen. Shenzhen is right there by Hong Kong, but Guangzhou is pretty close. Anyway, you got a large African community and also some other black folks from like US maybe that live right there in Guangzhou. They're being evicted from their homes by their landlords. Now, people are saying that they were there illegally. I don't know about that. How are you going to be in China illegally? That's going to be hard to do because you can't just walk from Nigeria to Guangzhou, China. That's going to be a long way to walk, okay? All right, you got to go across the whole continent, Africa, which is real big. Then you got to go across Middle East and all kind of stuff. It ain't going to happen. You got to fly there, right, normally. So how about they there illegally? That's not really going to happen in China. But beyond that, they have apartments where they pay the rent. They have landlords and they have agreements to where they can live there. You got students that are there. They're being evicted from their apartments. They're being kicked out of China. They're being denied access to restaurants like McDonald's. And they're straight up with it. They say no black people, no Nigerians, no foreigners, nobody without a valid identification. No black people, period. They even apologize for it. Why are you apologizing for? You did what you wanted to do. Okay, you're apologizing for the McDonald's kerfuffle, but you're not apologizing for kicking them out of China, for removing them from their homes and just having them be out on the street. They can't go to a hotel. They can't go to McDonald's or any other restaurant. They can't be in their apartment that they lease and they pay for. They're out there in the street with their luggage and all of that, pretty much stranded, not really being able to come home or do anything else because they probably have China now as their new home. But I'm to be told that it's racist to call the China virus the China virus. How is that racist? If that's racist, then what do you call the Chinese kicking black people out of China because of what? They're scared of the virus. They said like 10% of the new cases come from Africans. Okay, so how about the other 90%? How do you know that it's Africans that brought it and not Chinese themselves, because the virus started in China? So I would think logically it'd be stemming from the Chinese people. They probably gave it to the Africans, but Africans are now being blamed. Are they carriers of the virus, or is it a way to get them out of the country because they're not wanted anyway? What's really going on? That's what I want to know. But like I said, it's racist to call it the China virus, but somehow not racist to have the Chinese kick black people out of China. You know, media not talking about it at all. They don't want to get into it because they're in bed with the Chinese. That's why they said that calling it the China virus was racist. The CCP virus, exactly, Alex 505, the Wu flu, the Kung flu. That's racist, according to the mainstream media, because the mainstream media are in bed with China. Same thing with the Hollywood industry, all of that. They're in bed with China. That's why they say things like that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find a video right quick of what I'm talking about, and it'll put it into a greater context. But thank y'all for being here yet again. You guys are great. Like the video if you like what you're hearing so far. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and do that for me. I'd appreciate it. Oh, matter of fact, hold on. I got a couple clips I'm gonna play for you right quick. The first one is of a reporter. This might be on the China News Network, CNN, and you have this guy saying a thing. Matter of fact, this is a Senator Chris Murphy, talking about the virus response and whose fault it is. Let's check it out.
And the reason that we're in the crisis that we are today is not because of anything that China did, is not because of anything the WHO did. It's because of what this president, and the reason that we're in the crisis that we are today is not because of anything that China did, is not because of anything the WHO did. It's because of what this president.
I said it one more time if you didn't hear it. This is Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut, a Democrat, obviously. He's on CNN with Anderson Cooper, just sitting looking crazy. Check it out.
And the reason that we're in the crisis that we are today is not because of anything that China did, is not because of anything the WHO did. It's because of what this president.
So China's not the reason why this is happening. When they were trying to deny the virus even existed for like 2 months, 3 months. How about the WHO talking about, oh, well, don't restrict travel from China. Don't do it right now. It'll just aid in the xenophobia. And we don't need that right now because that's not going to help reduce the transmission of the virus. Really? That comes from them, the WHO. Also, when talking about Taiwan, that's a really big subject for the WHO. They don't even want to acknowledge Taiwan. And Taiwan tried to warn WHO. But since there's Taiwan and they're not a quote unquote country according to the WHO or the UN, they got ignored when they tried to warn them a long time ago. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find. Matter of fact, here it is. This is an official from the WHO and talking to somebody. I'm not sure who this is. It might be a Taiwanese reporter. I don't really know. But you're going to see what happens here. And this is pretty funny. But at the same time, it's not funny. It's dead serious. Check it out.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership?
Now, you're hearing silence right now. If you're listening to it on the audio, it's because she asked a question, would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? And the guy from WHO just looked into the like he didn't hear, didn't say a word, kept quiet. No sound at all coming from the guy. And then the reporter's like, okay, what are we doing?
Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Okay, so what you heard right there, when he was asked by her, hello, can you hear me? What's going on? All of a sudden now, okay, I hear you now. I didn't hear the question. Let's move on to something else though. So you didn't hear the question, but you want to move on. Why would you want to move on if you did not hear the question? How about I repeat the question and then you answer it? Come on, man. You think she's retarded? Like, you're playing games here, sir, because you don't want to acknowledge that Taiwan is a country. Let's check it out. Let's keep on going.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
And good on her for pressing the issue of Taiwan so he cannot escape it. So now he just hung up. He hung up the Skype call, just bounced. She's looking kind of confused.
We decided to give Dr. Howard another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China, and when you look across all the different areas of China, they've actually all done quite a good job.
Now, he's talking about China. She asked about Taiwan. In his mind, and in the mind of the WHO and the UN, Taiwan is not a country by itself. Okay, so you gotta call it China. If you call it Taiwan, now you're gonna upset the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping and the whole squad. He might get kidnapped from wherever he's at if he's in China. That's why he said that. Okay, so you're talking about WHO and they should be funded. Look at how they treat places like Taiwan, also Tibet, which is a whole different ball of wax, but I'll move on.
So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us to participate, and good luck as you go forward with the battle in Hong Kong.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Taiwan is not China. Taiwan is its own country. You know, it's a whole big history behind that. But see, you can't, if you are in that position of power, you can't just be kowtowing to the Chinese Communist Party, but that's what they do. And that's why a lot of these reporters on television, they'll be so positive towards China when they're doing things that are totally wrong. See, Trump is the kind of guy that will try to be nice to Xi Jinping to get things done, but hard on China itself. Same thing with anybody from Iran or Iraq or whatever, any kind of place that has any kind of terrorist problems going on. You try to be friendly with the people that run it, but at the same time, you got to be strong. You can't just, do whatever they say you got to do. If we were to do what China suggested, what the WHO suggested, we'd be in a much worse situation right now, talking about, oh, don't cut off travel. Really? Trump cut off travel. What is he called? Xenophobe. You're scared of the whole world. You're being racist. But now they're saying he did not act fast enough. So which one is it? I can't tell. It's whatever the media want to say at a particular point in time to push forward whatever narrative they want to push forward. But it is what it is. But that was crazy for a man to hang up. He hung up the Skype call. He looked dead into the camera, and I could tell he hung up. That don't just happen like that. Like, oops, nope, lost connection. Now he hung up the phone because he did not want to answer the Taiwan question. All right. But thank y'all for joining. You guys are great. But she did good by really hammering the point home about the WHO and how they operate. All right. But let me see what's going on. There's a whole lot happening. All right. Super chats, just read those right quick. And shout out to my man, Charles Sumner Jr., who says, ABL, after you mentioned how some DoorDash drivers are the other night, I will think twice before using it. By the way, did you hear how the True Vote stopped mail-in voting in New Mexico? I did not hear about that, but I'll check it out. But yeah, DoorDash, you got to be careful because, like I said, you never know. They might have some cats in the back seat crawling around, shedding all kind of fur and dander on your food. I don't know if you really want that too tough. But thank you for your donation. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you to Draco and Kodak who say, hope you're doing well, ABL. Well, thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate you. Shout out to Eero Burns March, who says CNN Chinese News Speak Network. Exactly right on point. Thank you for that. Shout out to Techno Logic for becoming an ABL supporter to the channel. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Stacy Felice, who says we slowed the spread and now it's time to get back to work. I've been on lockdown for 5 weeks now and it's enough. The best thing about this is President Trump's press conferences every day. Yeah, the press conferences are fantastic. I was saying on Twitter that these are almost like on a level of the 2016 debates. But instead of debating qualified Republicans on stage and really doing a fantastic job, just knocking everybody down like dominoes, now he's attacking and dismantling the mainstream media when they attack him. All right. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Derek Davis, who says, don't get to watch every video, but keep on keeping on. At least I could do with my Trump future monies. Hey, thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Ronnie Wright for becoming an ABO supporter. I appreciate you for that one. Shout out to Meme JPEG, who says it's time to start the country back up. We need to get back to work. That's what I'm saying. We got to keep on rocking because we can't just keep on hold forever. Some are going to say, hey, keep us on hold. We still got social spread. The spread can still keep happening. But how long do we stay on quarantine? Nobody can answer that question. So if you don't know, then don't be worried about me when I say open right now. I have a time. You don't. But thank you for your donation. I definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Matthew Richardson, who says evictions will stop soon. Landlords will soon be in a price war. Real estate is going to crater. Landlords will beg people to enter new leases. Hey, something's going to happen. Something's going to have to give because some tenants are still paying their rent. So those that aren't, what's going to happen to them? Not really sure. Shout out to Valerie Rogers, who says cure worsen the disease. Exactly, is what I'm saying. The cure is making things bad. Like you having, like when you do any kind of decision, when you have any kind of program out there, make any kind of decision, you got to see the pros and cons. What'll happen in the long term if you do a certain thing that's going to cause temporary problems. Like Fauci had the worst take talking about, oh, it's an inconvenience. Inconvenience. So if you lose your job and your house and everything else, your car, or struggling to eat, is that an inconvenience? It sounds much worse than that. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Emmy Black, who says, does everybody in the U.S. have access to hydrochloroquine yet? Here in Canada, they say they're testing. We don't have it yet. Now, some people, some places do. I'm not sure about everywhere. I can't really say that for sure, but it's here. It's definitely here because a lawmaker in Michigan was able to get it, and that was able to save her life. But to not have it yet is crazy because it's already a drug that existed on the market. It was something that people use to treat lupus, to treat rheumatoid arthritis, and a couple other illnesses, malaria. So it's already a drug that's been around for a long time. It shouldn't be an issue trying to get it into the country unless they're blocking it because of what reason, I'm not really sure. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Stephanie Sporchich. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, who says, thank you for your hard work for America. Well, thank you for your donation. I most certainly appreciate you. Shout out to Nippon, who says the left has the audacity to call us racist, yet they support one of the most racist countries on the planet, talking about the Communist Party of China. Thank you for your donation, man. Definitely appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Jan for the super chat donation. Shout out to Valerie Rogers, who says, like I said earlier, cure worse than the disease. And thank you to Christopher Ross for your donation. I appreciate it. And shout out to Filet Wilson. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, who says Bahamas loves you. And hey, shout out to the Bahamas. You guys are great out there. Glad you're watching. Right, but there's a whole lot going on. We got 802 people live in the building. Like the video for me. Share the video as well. Warmir Dubost, hopefully I didn't butcher that name, says ABL Dennis Prager had a doctor on his radio show. The doctor said they're being pressured to write down coronavirus as causes of deaths, even if it hasn't been proven. Yeah, I believe that because Burks, again, got on TV and said that even if you didn't die necessarily from the coronavirus specifically, you'll code it as that if you had it. So you could die from something else and you probably were on death's door anyway, but because you had the virus in your system, that means you died from the virus. That's crazy. That's how they're inflating the numbers to scare people. And also there's monies behind this. Do you know that there's money attached? Like per coronavirus patient, states are getting money. So don't think there's no fraud going on. Oh yeah, anytime there's money attached to a thing like this, there will be fraud. Don't get that twisted. If it's an ulterior motive, if it's money or whatever, there will be fraud and there will be exaggeration and there will be fear mongering. And it's working for people to be scared and to be fear mongered, if that's a term. It's working. But what else we got going on? Oh yeah. Barack Obama finally endorses Joe Biden. Took long enough, didn't it? Biden's been running for a long time out there with no Barack Obama. I mean, Obama's out here getting Netflix deals, doing a little press run, you know, just living his life, hanging out, chilling, taking pictures on Instagram and all this and that. But no Biden endorsement. Now, the official reason is because he would not endorse anybody until after the primary is over or until they become the only person, like, you know, they've secured the nomination. I'm not sure why he would do that. Why? Is it because it's unfair to others? Well, that's fine, because when you endorse somebody, that makes it unfair to other people, maybe in the opposite party, but you got to give a particular person an advantage. That's just how it works. So for him to take that long, and it's not like Joe Biden's just anybody. This is his former vice president for 8 years in the White House. So this is his man. This is his friend. I'm sure they hung out together a lot before. So why would you wait this long, like a year or more, to endorse this man? Do you know a thing that we don't know? It appears to be that way because I heard through the grapevine, not sure if it's true or false, but I heard that Biden allegedly tried to convince, Obama tried to convince Biden to not run. That's what I hear, because of my legacy and I don't want you to embarrass me, all this, that, and the third. He encouraged him to not run. That's what I hear. I wouldn't doubt it because look at what's happening right now. I think Obama knows a thing that we don't know about Joe Biden. Very simple, because maybe he saw the decline happen mentally with Joe Biden in the White House. Maybe he saw that and he knows, okay, this ain't really going to work out too well. I don't want you to run. but maybe he was overruled by the Democratic Party itself because they understand they don't really have anybody that's very strong that has a chance of being able to win. You have some new strong blood out there, but they're not really very well known. And all they could do really was just run Joe Biden. Although he's like 78 with one foot in the grave, they don't really care. They'll try him out there anyway. It's really a shame because it's clear this man is going through decline. They should not force him to be out there running for the presidency, but they are. It's a crying shame, but it is what it is. So finally, Obama endorses Joe Biden. A long video. It was like 12 minutes. I guess what he would normally do is go out there on the campaign trail and talk like while he's right there, but since we're doing the quarantine, social distancing, he can't really do that. So the impact that his endorsement might have on people is not the same because he's not out in front of the flashing lights and the cameras and whatnot. So it's just kind of weird. Biden cannot campaign, neither can Barack Obama or anybody else. So whatever they are right now is going to be where they remain. If they don't sink, like they can't rise anymore, all they can do is go downhill from here. And I think that pretty much happened. Trump's on TV every day giving these virus updates. Biden can barely do a live stream for 20 minutes without losing his mind. So Trump will maintain his base and grow some more. And speaking of growing some more, did you guys see the Democratic lawmaker from Georgia, black guy by the name of, what's my man's name? Vernon Jones. Lifelong Democrat, been around politics since the early 90s. He got elected back in 1993. So he's not some kind of new guy. He's just trying to get a little bit of attention, a little bit of what the cool kids call clout. He's been around for a long time in politics and came out and endorsed Donald Trump for president. Now, he said it pretty clear why he did it. He's like, look, as a lifelong Democrat, he's doing things that I appreciate. School choice, perhaps. What else? Oh, opportunity zones. The First Step Act, HBCU funding, lowest black unemployment in recorded history. He's doing things that are actually helping my community. And mind you, this guy represents like Atlanta Metro. So he probably has a pretty high black population district out there in Conyers, DeKalb County. That's where he's at. So he's just calling it how he sees it. He's not so much caught up in the partisanship. He's just being honest. That's all I can really ask for when you're talking about a politician. A lot of these guys will lie through their teeth, don't really care what they say to you, say anything, but he's being very honest. And I'm not asking him to become a Republican. He could be a Democrat, and that's fine. At least be a sensible Democrat. Understand that if a person does a thing that's right, applaud them on it. Appreciate them for that. If you have a Democrat that's doing a good thing like my man here is, I'll applaud him on that. If he's a Democrat, hey, that's something. We can disagree on the policy. That's cool. But if you do a thing I like, I can give you praise and vice versa. We can get along better that way rather than everything be so happy partisan. And the Democrats really just want to attack us. It's like it appears to be a war that's going on both sides, Democrat, Republican, but really it's the far left antagonizing all of these problems. And then we all must face it together as conservative Republicans. And other Democrats are having a hard time being able to deal with it. On one hand, they want to be able to keep their position, to keep their job, and serve their constituents how they want to serve them. On the other hand, they don't like what's happening with the Democratic Party. People are leaving as a result. They're kind of straying away. They're making their stances known politically. So it is what it is. All right. But shout out to the Super Chats. We got a few more. Let me see. Shout out to Valerie Rogers, who says Schweppes tonic water contains quinine. All righty. I didn't know that. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to Matt, who says if 9/11 happened today, Trump will call it a Saudi attack. Democrats will still call him a xenophobe, defender terrorist. Exactly. Just call it for what it is. Don't try to say something else. I don't understand this whole language we have in the far left where you just, when you replace a word with a different word because of what? Because of feelings. And then when you do that, it changes the whole context of what you were saying. What you were saying now, it ain't the same as what you were trying to say before. So it's just weird. You got to kind of translate their language. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Journey Trials and Joy, who says, worried about Ebola spreading? Nope, not at all. I'm not worried about anything really. It's all kind of diseases that exist out in the world. I can't just live in my house and never go outside because it's diseases or you might get hurt. I just can't live like that. I mean, it's like getting put into a giant bubble and then going through life like that. I'm not a fan. Shout out to Max Dominguez, who says foreigners getting kicked out of China. Where are all the SJWs now? Let's get back to work. Open up the USA. Hey, thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you. I'm right there with you. Open it back up. People are scared of the virus. Okay, if you're scared, go to church. Go to quarantine. Go somewhere else. Don't deny me my right to go and participate in the world. And others, their right to be able to go out there, work at a front-facing business or whatever the case may be. If you're scared, stay home. Sip on. But shout out to who we have. Northside Diva, who says, love your channel. ABL, greetings from Florida. I thank you for your very kind words and donation. I appreciate that. Thank you to Justin Miller, who says, since the government continues infringing on our rights, like Blackface Northam quietly signing off on the treason and Second Amendment infringing bill, it is time for a mass civil time for mass civil disobedience in the form of open businesses and going out? Yeah, it's time to go back out, open your business back up. And if everybody does it, then how can it really be enforced to not do it? And I'm seeing some of these forums, you got officers saying that they're not going to enforce all these draconian rules. So I think at a certain point, we'll go back to it. 100%. Thank you to Ring Talk Wrestling News, who says, I really think Trump will open 20 states tomorrow. Hey, that's what I'm hoping. Did he say he's going to do something tomorrow specifically as far as the states being open? Hopefully he does. That's what I want to see. Shout out to Colette, who says the coronavirus is going to be with us, maybe like influenzas. Have they ever cured the flu? SARS is still here. They are not giving us a finish line. They need to give everyone the malaria meds at least. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because that's what I was saying earlier to people that are saying, let's stay quarantined. Okay, when will the release date be? When? Just, no timeline? If you have no time, if I ask you, when should we get off of the quarantine? You say, I don't know. And I say a time, then you can't object to it, because if you object, then you got to be able to provide your timeline. You can't just say no to a release date and then not provide a release date. That's not how that works at all. It's like a contract. If I say, okay, the contract will end on X date, and you say, I object, and then you are asked, well, what day do you want it to end? And you say, no, I don't know. Well, ain't no contract then, because you got to have an end date. Simple. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to Journey, Trials, and Joy, who says, do you think this election will be fair? That's a great question. I think that it's going to be as fair as possible. I think some states will try and cheat, but I think it will be as fair as possible. And some of the more conservative states to be fairer than the liberal states. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. Shout out to Santo Bartez, who says, people seem to have forgotten that tuberculosis kills nearly 10,000 people every year in the U.S., yet we don't shut down the entire economy over it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We still have issues. We still have viruses that kill every year. But nobody says, okay, let's not leave our house because of a virus that kills. Just like car crashes, everything else. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease. You're not going to just restrict my diet, federal government, local government, because I'm eating too much. Let me handle my own health. If I'm not doing right, if I'm eating a pizza every hour like it's a pretzel, then so what? That's my business. If I get heart disease and I can't make it, then that's my choice. Shout out to Jay Smith, who says, new normal equals our new way of life. Trump started these ridiculous guidelines. Now it has opened the door for government full control, lockdown, transitions to a new way of life. Is this MAGA? Well, Trump did not institute any kind of mandatory thing. He gives guidelines, and the states are the ones that implement them. So it's not coming from the federal government, although I think that you need to be stronger from the federal government level on saying that the states can't just do all these kind of draconian measures. So, it is what it is. You got to give guidelines, because if you have information about the virus and what you can do to prevent it, you got to give that out there, because if you're not, then why would you do that? People are catching the virus and having complications. Tell us what we got to do to prevent the virus from spreading. And then from there, let's take it from there. Shout out to Matt. Oh, I already read that one. Shout out to Miriam Vidal, who says Oregon also organizing gridlock protests. Yes, that's happening all over the country. It's happening right now, I think, in Michigan. It'll be happening in Virginia, I think, on the 24th of April. And now you're saying Oregon, North Carolina is doing it. So at a certain point, the people have had enough. And I called it. I was like, you're going to have civil unrest because you can't keep people locked up forever. It happened in China with civil unrest. People being locked up in the houses, can't go nowhere, can't make any money, no income or nothing like that. It happened in China. It happened here as well. Shout out to Not Banned Account, who says, if we give up more rights, will virus end faster? Exactly. If we just say, take all my rights, Constitution, take that, burn it up. And if you do that, can we get the virus to end faster? That's a good question. But the answer is no, it will not end faster. It may still be here forever like the flu. But in the meantime, we didn't give up all our rights that we didn't fight years, hundreds of years to be able to get. Shout out to my man, Charles Sumner Jr., who says, hopefully more people in blue states do a recall of their governors. My governor, Comrade Jay Inslee, will hopefully be kicked out this year. Yeah, hopefully so. Michigan, there's a big change.org petition to get Michigan governor out of there. What's her name? Gretchen Whitmer. I think it reached like 250,000 subs. They're trying to get like 300,000 signatures on there. So, yeah, Northam. See, the thing about Northam is that he is the governor for not much longer because you cannot do back-to-back gubernatorial campaigns. So he's going to be gone soon. The issue with Virginia is the cabal that runs the government. You got to get them out of the way and then move on with your life. Because if you have Governor Northam out of there, you still got Mark Herring. You still got the other guy, I forget his name, Fairfax. I think his name is Fairfax. You got him in there. You have a bunch of other guys that come straight from the swamp, D.C., right over the Potomac, and then they infect VA with their nonsense. Shout out to Ian Kinney, who says Wisconsin primary was rigged by mail-in voting. Thousands of ballots were discovered to be misplaced and never counted. Democrats took the seats. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The mail-in ballots that could just be thrown on the interstate, fly all over the place, dump, set on fire, water damage, hidden, whatever. That's how they want to try and cheat the election. So, no. In person, unless you're in the military or something like that, in person, valid photo ID, that solves a lot of the problems right there. People don't want to do that because they're so focused on trying to support the Democratic Party and whatever they say. And the Democratic Party are saying it because they want to engage in fraud because they know it'd be hard to win without fraud, if not impossible. Yeah, Virginia is being ruled by these leftist nut jobs that come a lot of time from D.C. Metro or D.C. itself. Yep. All right. Let me see. Udoka says, in your opinion, should we have shut down to begin with? If not, what alternative should there have been from the beginning? Good question again. No, there should not have been a shutdown from the beginning. What should have happened is the government should have said what we could do to protect ourselves. If you want to wear a mask, if you want to wear gloves, if you have a high chance of catching it, if you're elderly, if you have underlying health conditions, diabetes, heart disease, whatever, you may want to stay home. You may want to stay away from people, keep a distance of people to prevent from catching it. That's what should have been done from the beginning. Not this whole lockdown thing, because a lockdown is making things worse for people because the economies are tanking. People are losing their shirt. They're losing their house. They're losing everything, losing their mind sometimes. Suicides are up. So the quarantine was just a little bit too much. It should have just been giving us guidelines that we can follow if we want, rather than being forced upon us by local government. That's what should have happened. That's all we want. Government, all you got to do is give us information. That's all we need from you. Give us information. Let us handle it from there. Don't force upon me how I got to live my life. The craziest thing was Whitmer talking about you can't buy seeds. You can't buy seeds. I'm talking about like grass. You can't buy sod. You couldn't buy flags in the store. It's just stupid stuff. If I'm in Walmart, why can't I buy certain things? Let me buy whatever I want. I'm in here. Shout out to Gina Fuentes, who says, I don't think any vaccines will be the golden ticket. I will not get no vaccine ever. Nothing but love from California, where there are still sane people. Hey, shout out to you for that. I appreciate it. I'm not getting a vaccine either. Never had a flu shot. Don't plan on getting one. And the flu shot is only 40% effective. So people are saying, oh, we have vaccines for the flu, 40% effective. You still had 80,000 deaths in 2018's winter season, 2017, 2018 winter season, even with a flu shot. People said, oh, well, because no, people didn't really take it. Well, would you take it with a 40% success rate? And then what about those that get injured from the shot? It's kind of a high risk thing. If you think about it, you could get injured from it and, permanently injured. And then on top of that, you have a low success rate of it. There's always different strands of it. So what's the purpose in getting the flu shot? I don't understand. It's like there's more risk involved. The risk to reward ratio is not very high. 40% chance of having it work. To me, it doesn't make any sense. You're a funny guy, Romero. I ain't gonna read that one, but that's hilarious. I ain't gonna read it, but it's funny. All right, so let's get to the calls. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you for being here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And if you want to, Rosa, you can get injuries like being paralyzed. Yeah, like serious, life-threatening, life-altering injuries. You're right about that. Absolutely. But 434-658-1220 is the number to call. And there it is right there, 434-658-1220. If you want to get in through Skype, there's the email for that in the description box. You'll be right here in the bottom left-hand corner. You can talk through video and audio. You can't see me through Skype, but you can hear me through Skype. We can talk that way. But let me go and start my Skype up and see if it wants to work properly. And shout out to Nicole, who says, hello, ABL in chat. Hello to you as well. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you 100%. All right. But I heard that the average age of the virus death was like early 70s, late 70s. I'm not really sure if that's true or false, but that's what I heard. That's what I heard through the grapevine. I'm not sure if that's true. Let me go ahead and get my whole thing set up here. Okay. There we go. Sorry for the ring. I thought I turned my desktop audio off. I guess I didn't. Let's get to the call. All right. Let me see. Nippin, what's happening?
Finally, Trump has defunded the Wuhan organization.
Yeah, the WHO, the Wuhan Health Organization, exactly.
Yep. And Obama has finally endorsed Joe Biden. Took you long enough, didn't it?
It sure did.
Well, we all knew it was coming.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm going to continue without headphones because they're running out of battery.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Are you well? Continue. Well, now I got an echo, so I need you to have the headphones on.
Yeah, I had headphones on because I usually have them on, but they're running out of battery, so they're like.
Yeah, but see, listen to what I'm saying though. If you don't have headphones on, then it's an echo, and that's the issue. But now it's gone. It's gone. So keep on going because it's gone now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Africans have been kicked out of China.
Yeah.
And the left has the audacity to call us racist. Get out.
Yeah, they want to say that calling.
Get out.
Yeah, they want to say that calling the virus, the China virus, is racist. But if you're African and you're not allowed to be in China, you get kicked out of where you live, where you pay rent. Somehow that's not really your problem to even discuss. It's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah, because if it's the left, it's okay.
That's right.
So here in the UK, we've just had an announcement. Well, it's going to be announced tomorrow that how long the lockdown will be extended until, because it was meant to be reviewed tomorrow. We're not expecting any risk. We're not expecting anything to be relaxed anytime soon.
So is there going to be any kind of end date? Do you think there's going to be an announcement that say, okay, maybe June, July, or just whenever they feel like
know
it?
tomorrow when Dominic Raab, the the foreign secretary who's deputizing for what's his name, Boris Johnson, while he's recovering from the China virus.
Right.
So yeah, he will tell us tomorrow how long more we will have to wait. I think it's everyone's saying it, and they're going to review it again on the 7th of May.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one thing. And then in Italy and Spain, they finally started to lower the restrictions.
Yeah, finally, because they got to start at a certain time. They can't just keep it going forever. So I'm glad you're doing that.
It's going to go into unrest otherwise.
That's right. And you don't want that at all.
No, that's the last thing you want.
That's right.
So yeah, as you can see over here in this BBC article, like some places have completely reopened, like Austria, for example, might return to normal in a few. Can you see the article I'm showing you?
Yeah.
So yeah, Austria might return to normal soon.
Yeah, hopefully so, because they got to do it sometime. They can't keep locked down forever.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, because look, there's only so much people can take.
Right.
Before there's a civil unrest. Like a lot of news articles are saying the lockdown could last for over a year. No, I am not waiting a year before I can leave my house again.
Not at all. I'm not going to be able to do it. Not in the least bit.
There's gonna be a civil unrest over here, if that happens. I'm sorry, I am not putting up with this. My longest tolerance would be about 3 to 4 months. Otherwise, I'm just getting out. I don't care if I get arrested.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm ready right now. I'm over it now, like today. Like I go out whenever I can, and if somebody want to arrest, like where I live, people don't really it's not really a big enforcement from what I see. The officers are pretty cool, anybody really tripping from what I see. But it could be something that I'm not really seeing. But some places is a little bit different.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, now a lifelong Democrat has decided to endorse Trump.
That's right.
I mean, fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's a good thing because he's not being so partisan to where he can't see what's going on and take it for what it is. He's understanding that if the president is doing the good thing and he's the best one that's available, why not support him? It just kind of makes sense. And I think that he's winning a lot of Democrats over.
So, yeah, that's that. And then Michigan are protesting over Governor, or should I say Comrade Whitmer.
That's right.
Over this virus, over the draconian rules to contain the virus.
Yep.
But then it says she also wants to reopen the nation.
Say what now?
But it also says she wanted to get the country to reopen.
Nah, I'm not sure what you're reading.
Oh, I'm probably getting confused with something else.
Yeah, no, she don't want to do that. She's like being pressured to reopen the nation. That's the whole thing.
And then over here on our side, there's a 99-year-old war veteran who has raised £8 million for the NHS to donate to people who really need all these things during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And also a 106-year-old victim of the virus has survived. And she was 106 years old.
Yeah, it must not be that bad if she was able to survive. I mean, people die every day. And I think that this whole thing is blown out of proportion because they did not report every time somebody died from the flu when it was 80,000 people. People die every day from various causes. It does not mean that this virus is just like the Black Plague all over again. It's just not that. It's being blown out of proportion. People are being scared and they're making irrational decisions. But hey, man, I got a lot of calls on the line. I'm going to get to a few more. Thank you for the call, man.
Nice
Definitely appreciate
catching
you.
up with you, ABL.
Always.
I shall speak to you on Sunday.
All righty. Sunday your time, Saturday my time. I got you, boss.
Yep, I'll speak to you then.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. All righty. Great call from my man I said almost calling you Udoka. Great call from my man Nippin. And the number to call if you don't know is 434-658-1220. If you want to do Skype, there's the email for that in the description box below. Let me get to my next call here. Okay. Alrighty. A Sweet Speaks, what's happening?
I've established myself in Riga, and I don't know how long I'm staying here because everything's closed. The U.S. State Department aren't doing any interviews for visas right now with non-citizens.
Ah, man, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, that's probably part of this whole virus thing. They're shutting everything down. And people that deserve to be over here, going through the legal process, are having a difficult time. Meanwhile, if you're an illegal alien, it seems like a lot of the Democrats are trying to bend over backwards to help you. They're even trying to give illegal aliens some of that money for the relief from the virus.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm here for 2 more months or 6 more months. I have no idea.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, but, we could talk about numbers and Corona, COVID-19 in Sweden and things like that. Because I'm happy I'm not stuck in Sweden.
Right, yeah. I mean, so what's going on there right now?
Well, I suppose you heard that Trump mentioned Sweden, was it a week ago or something like that? He talked about Sweden trying to do the herd immunity, or he actually knew the Swedish term. He said they call it the flock. So apparently he's been paying attention. And if you look at the numbers in Sweden, there are over 1,200 deaths. We could compare to neighboring Finland, which has 150 deaths, and Finland actually had their first case earlier than Sweden had their first case.
Mm. So now, what is Finland doing? Are they doing the full shutdown thing?
Finland, they closed their borders, and they also closed off, the capital city region, so you can't travel in and out of that region because they're trying to contain the virus there so it won't spread outside of it. While Sweden has been trying a different strategy, I think Sweden didn't have a choice because Sweden don't have the resources to do anything else because they're pretty much bankrupt.
Okay, I see.
And the thing is, I saw someone in the chat, I don't know if the person was sarcastic or not, sometimes it's difficult to tell these days, but someone said that liberal Sweden was doing great or something like that, and I'm like, no, they're not. They have a shortage of hospital beds, they have a shortage of necessary equipment, people over 80 who get infected aren't even treated. If you're over 60 and you have a medical condition from before, you won't get treated either.
Wow.
Yeah, and I even read that Sweden is risking to get a shortage of meat, and they're trying to buy up meat from farmers in Finland. Of course, the Swedish media didn't write about it. It was the Finnish media who wrote about that. And I'm like, yeah, that's some third world conditions going on in what people used to think was a model country for the world or something like that.
Yeah. So do you think this whole thing with the open borders with the migrants, quote unquote migrants coming in, has put a strain on their economy to the point where now when people need help with this virus, they're having a hard time being able to deliver?
Well, that's obvious. That would obviously be a part of it. But not only that, Sweden abolished their strategic reserves in the decade between the mid-90s and the mid-00s, because once the Cold War was over, the idea in Sweden was that now there's not going to be any more wars, there's not going to be any more crises. So what do we need all this stuff for? And they are starting to get rid of a lot of stuff they would have needed today.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Comparing again with neighboring Finland. In Finland, they have strategic reserves. They even have these secret places where they have them so they won't get looted.
Okay. So.
But they were in the war, so they still have it in them that crisis will hit you sooner or later.
So it seems like Sweden was not really prepared. Well, Finland was prepared. They were ready for, I think, something like this to happen.
Yeah, I would say that because if you look at the numbers in Sweden, especially if you look at the number of deaths, there are more deaths in Sweden reported than all the other Nordic countries, Finland, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland combined.
Wow.
And the thing is, you won't even get tested unless they think you're critical and that they have to take you in. So the numbers are not to be trusted when it comes to Sweden.
Right. I see. That makes sense.
Yeah. And we could also compare to, because, well, Sweden is kind of doing the opposite to the rest of the world. It's Sweden and Belarus on one side and the rest of the world on the other side. So you could compare to Latvia. In Latvia, we can only go 2 and 2 on the street at the same time. I can still go to work, but a lot of people are going home and working from home. I don't really want to do that because, first of all, I want to be able to separate work at home. And second of all, it's a lot easier to get distracted if you're sitting at home. Plus, I have to set up a lot of machinery that I don't really have space for right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope I'll be able to still go to the office because sitting at home, I wouldn't like it at all.
Yeah. No. Nah. It's just a little bit too much. So yeah. Hopefully you're able to go to the office.
Yeah. But if we're gonna say anything more about this stuff, we could point out that all of this started in China, and this is not the first time that this stuff comes from China, because I think I heard you say something about Ebola, and you know what Liberia did when Ebola hit?
What's that?
Well, they closed their borders to make sure it wouldn't spread outside of the country. The absolute opposite of what China did. China was just trying to hide it and pretty much didn't do anything until it had started to spread all around the world.
Yeah, they don't, because they're more worried about their image and stuff like that. Ebola comes from Africa, and if it's an outbreak in Africa, they say, okay, let's close it off right now and deal with it internally. Ask the outside world for help and accept their help if they are willing to give it to us. But China's like, nope, ain't nothing going on. They want to cover it up. When the outside world say, hey, we're seeing some video on social media, people falling out, passing out, blood all over the place. Can we come and help? They say, nope, no problem here. And the WHO, who are in the pocket of the Chinese, come out and say, oh, there's no problem. There's no human-to-human transmission. Don't restrict Chinese travel. There's no problem. So they're just, like you said, they're covering up and they're lying about it versus over in Africa where they're just immediately on it and trying to get outside world help and being honest about what's happening.
Yeah. Speaking of the WHO, did you see the story that, the head of the WHO, what's his name again? Something with a T. Anyway, this Ethiopian guy, he claimed that the Taiwanese government were spreading racism towards him. Maybe he's right, but I kind of doubt it because, the WHO haven't said anything about the campaigns that China have had where they had these campaigns where they were throwing immigrants into trash cans, and these immigrants happen to be brown and black. They haven't said anything about that.
Well, yeah, and the funny part about Tedros Ghebreyesus, that's his name, the guy from Eritrea, but he's Ethiopian. Like same thing, same place, but similar. I don't want to get anybody mad in here, but anyway, he's not talking about Taiwan as being an independent sovereign nation. I showed a video earlier where another guy from the WHO was asked about Taiwan specifically, and he was on a Skype call. He was like not trying to answer the question, pretending he didn't hear the question, even hung up on the girl as she was asking about Taiwan because they can't call Taiwan Taiwan. They got to call it Chinese Taipei, or they got to call it China, because Chinese they don't like when you do that. They like when you say Tibet. You can't do that. Matter of fact, China is so petty. And they're also in the Hollywood industry. There was a movie scene where it was a flag on a guy's jacket. It was two flags on the guy's jacket. And since it was shown in China, it had to be censored. The flags were of Taiwan and Japan. Those flags are totally gone because Japan's not a friend and Taiwan is not. Taiwan is China. So they're like that. And then if you are in the pocket of the Chinese, you got to do whatever they say. Same thing with the NBA and more. But hey, I got a lot of calls on the line. I'm going to get to a few more, man. Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, no problem. Hey, before you go, tell everybody how to get in contact with you, man.
Absolutely. You can go to sweetspeaks.com.
All righty, man. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a great evening.
All right, same to you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, shout out to my man Sweet Speaks. Most certainly appreciate it for the call. And you guys go to sweetspeaks.com. Was it a Top Gun? Okay, that might have been what it was. Yeah, it was two flags on. It was 4 flags on his jacket, but it was 2 flags at the bottom. If I could find that, I'll pull it up right quick and put it on the screen. But it had to get censored because it was in China, and they don't like that. They're not in Hong Kong. Same thing. When Daryl Morey, I think he was the owner or is the owner of the Houston Rockets, came out and supported Hong Kong and their fight for, some independence or sovereignty. China did not like that, and they took it out on the Houston Rockets. It got so bad that in a promotional piece, they had airbrushed the Rockets logo off of James Harden's jersey. Like, it's serious, man. It's not a game. We're talking about China and what they'll do, like how their whole information apparatus is designed to make them look good and to hide anything that makes them look bad. They don't care if they kill half of the world with the virus or send the whole world into a tailspin of depression. It doesn't really matter because their mission of trying to cover certain things up has been accomplished. Simple as that. But shout out to my man, Sweet Speaks. Go to his website, and I'm going to get to a few more calls. Before I get there, I'm going to get to the super chat. Take it to Nicole. Oh, I read that one. She says, hello, ABL in chat. Thank you to And You Don't Stop Yo, who says, hi, Anthony. I agree. Nothing should have been shut down. But do you know what the whole TP thing was about? Talking about toilet paper. I mean, I don't know what that was all about. I was asking the same question. It's like, why is everybody going and hoarding toilet paper? Like, out of all things in the world, you hear a virus coming, you like, okay, I got to go to the store right now and get all of the toilet paper. I did not understand that at all. I would have got, if I was there right when it popped, because when it popped, I was in California. I wasn't even here when the whole thing really popped. But if I was here, I would have got dry goods, more than what I have, and kept it moving, not hoarded on toilet paper. And then people tried to come back like 2 weeks later with a bunch of returns where they have toilet paper, paper towels. It's like, why did you get all that to begin with? It was kind of weird. But shout out to Chantel Davis, who says, love your channel. I trust you better than the news. Well, thank you for your donation. I definitely appreciate you. Shout out to John Matrix, who says, ABL, when will the woke Democratic politicians call out China for what they're doing to black people? Asking for a friend. They will not talk about it at all, not in the least bit. The same way they don't call out North African Arab Muslims for enslaving black Africans from sub-Saharan Africa. They don't talk about that at all. They talk about how bad slavery was and how it's an atrocity in America, but they will not talk about present day slavery that happens right now to Africans in the continent at all. So they'll talk about certain things that help them, but not things that are going to hurt them. And if they put China in a negative light, that will hurt them because of the monies that they get from China. That's a very good question, though, man. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Let me get to the next call. And that's going to be 770. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Ansel. How you doing, Anthony?
Everything's good, man. What's going on?
It's going good. Well, first off, I'm glad you didn't get hurt when that tornado went through your neighborhood.
Oh, man, it was crazy. I'm talking about like 2 doors down, it was a tree that fell. And if it would have fell like a different way, it could have like crushed a neighbor's house or even impacted ours, blocked us into a house. It was so close, man. We were really blessed to be spared, for real, because right in my neighborhood, stuff was flattened.
Right. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about tornadoes is You know, they're just strange like that. But I'm just like I said, first of all, I'm just wanting to say I'm glad that God bless you and you didn't, you know, that something like that didn't happen to you in your home. And the other thing I wanted to talk about when you were talking about opening up the economy and how a cure can be worse than the disease. See, one of my business neighbors is a hair salon, and the girls, you know, all of the hair salons and barbershops are shut down. So those girls are getting killed economically. I mean, like they're out of business. And there's like over 500,000 hairstylists in the United States. So that means that, you know, you've got like over 500,000 people that are basically out of work. They don't get unemployment, you know, because they're self-employed. They have to rent the booths. So I don't know if they still get the $1,200 stimulus check, but I know for sure they don't get unemployment because, you know, if you're I'm pretty sure self-employed people don't pay unemployment insurance. Like me, I'm self-employed. I don't pay unemployment insurance, you know. But what do you think about that?
I mean, you're right about that. Like a lot of people don't understand that, don't really deal with business like that. They don't understand how people are living, how they're making their money. You know, if you're a barber, a hairstylist, that's a legitimate career. You can make a good living off of that, raise a family, put kids in college in the whole 9 yards. But if you're not able to be in the shop, cutting hair, doing hair, you have nothing, because what you're doing really, you're kind of like a subcontractor to a certain degree. You're like a 1099 type of employee. You go in there, you pay booth rent, and you just make money from what you get from the customer for the cost of the cut or the cost of the hairstyle, tips, or whatever it is. And if you're not able to make that money, you can't really file unemployment insurance. You're not employed by a person. You are self-employed. You just like a contractor in a shop where you paying the rent. So there's no unemployment insurance to be made. You can get that check, but that's not really going to be enough if you've not been able to cut hair for 2 months, 3 months, or whatever it is. So yeah, it's really tough out there.
Exactly. And you know, where I'm located down here in Metro Atlanta, I mean, the hair business is huge. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, the women, my neighbors, those girls make a ton of money. And to go from the money that they were making to a $1,200 stimulus check, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure most of them, that won't even cover their mortgage or their rent, you know, because of their lifestyle, the lifestyle that they live. And another thing is I seen a couple of them come over and they picked up their equipment out of the shop, and they're doing, I'm pretty sure, only one of them verified to me, but I'm sure the other ones are working from home. They're still doing hair. They're just doing it from home because the government has told them that they can't do it at the shop. You know, so, I mean, with that particular industry, you know, it's not shutting them down isn't doing any good because they need the money. And once people get desperate enough, they're going to start doing stuff under the table. And you know, like these girls doing hair from home. And, you know, because, you know, I know the wig industry is huge in our community, but a lot of these girls, they still want to get their hair done. And like I said, if they're just doing the hair at home, they're still coming into contact with people. So just in my personal opinion, when it comes to the barber salons and the hair salons, and you got 500,000 people out of business, you might as well just open those back up because they're doing it anyway.
Exactly. They're doing, like, if you're a barber, you're taking your clippers, you're taking your whole set with you. You going in your car, cutting hair. I done seen guys have a van and cut hair in the van. Like, they're going to cut hair regardless of something. Like, if you got clients, they already know who you are. They got your phone number. All they're going to do is schedule an appointment, go to your house, or you come to their house, whatever it is, and cut your hair and be done. You're just making it more difficult for them to be able to get around, making them spend money on gas and whatnot versus having a central location everybody can go to and get their hair cut or their hair done. It's crazy. And then on top of that, you can go to Walmart and that's fine. You be in there elbow to elbow, touching everything everybody done touched. And there's no problem with that. You in this big mega store, and that's okay to be open. But barbershop where there's less interaction with people than a Walmart or a Target or something like that, that's frowned upon. It don't make no sense.
Right. And the booths are, okay, I can only speak for the hair salon and barbershop that are my business neighbors. Their chairs and booths are more than 6 feet apart. Mm-hmm. You know, and the girls, I call them girls, but all of the women have their own equipment. All of them have their own equipment. They buy their own chemicals, which are designed for their own particular clients. You know, you have people that supply them who are like salespeople who bring them their own chemicals, and they buy whichever chemicals they particularly like. So, like I said, to me, in that particular industry, I think they should open that up. And I don't know what those women are doing for money. I feel sorry for them myself. You know, it's just messed up. It's just one of those cases, like you were saying, where the cure is worse than the disease. And like I said, I'm just happy that the tornado didn't hit you. And I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, shout out to my man Ansel. That was a great call. Excellent call. He's right on point. I mean, people are suffering, and because I'm a guy that's been in business. I'm in business now. I've been dealing with small business for a long time. If you guys know, I was a graphic designer for a long time. I still do graphic design here and there, but I did it for a long time. Like, that was my only thing I did from like 2005, when I was really just kind of getting my toe in the water, to like, really, I say I still do some jobs now, but 2015 was when I kind of like didn't do it anymore, or really slowed down. Well, I say 2016, so over 10 years, a decade. And I done seen all kind of businesses. I done seen karate dojos. I've been to every beauty salon, hair salon, barbershop, wig store, beauty supply store. I've been to military weapon, not weapon, but like equipment businesses. I can't even really name it. I've been to like over probably like 200 or 300 businesses, and I know how people have to operate to get money. I know how hard it is for businesses to be able to make payroll. People getting loans already to make payroll as it is sometimes. Then on top of that, you want to put this whole virus thing in the mix. I understand that it's going to just crush people, and people don't understand that until they see the unemployment numbers. It's talking about, it's going to be 3 million unemployment number, the 5 for unemployment in 1 week. And then it goes to 6 million. Oh, it's beyond our expectations. Oh, you don't say. You don't say. I could have told you that one, but I digress. Let's move on. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me go ahead and get on to it. All right, Matt, what's going on?
Hey, ABL, how's it going?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Hey, I sent you a news article. Did you see that Northam is mandating that everybody wear masks?
I did not see that. I heard about something like that, but I didn't see the article yet.
They're just KKK hoods.
That's hilarious.
I'm flying to Texas next week for business, and I own an aviation company, and no one's coming to me to say, hey, you're essential or whatever. I mean, I got government contracts to the Army and stuff like that, but I'm still going to be plugging along. Even if someone says don't come to work, I'm still coming to work. It ain't going to stop me.
I heard that, man. You got to be able to still work. You have to continue.
Yeah, these guys that I got into it with a business neighbor of mine that owns a furniture store, and he was almost happy that there was a Brazilian study that hydroxychloroquine they had to stop the study because people were having heart palpitations, and he was literally happy about it. And I came to the realization that however you read Trump, I'm a critic of Trump, particularly on the economy. I mean, we've talked a number of times about that, but however you read Trump, he's like the Bible. If you're negative, then that's just a reflection of your own heart and the way that you are on the inside. It really shows who's ugly and who's not ugly.
Right.
And I think that's all I got for you. I just wanted to tell we got a guy that's banning guns right now in Virginia that was in blackface and a hood, and now all of a sudden he's a liberal hero. We got Biden that, I mean, Tara Reid, he has assaulted her, and it just I think the left is going through a religious experience right now where, in the same way David Koresh was preaching out of Revelations and really focusing on that, the left is kind of doing it as well. So we got to close the borders like Taiwan and get back to work. So.
No doubt, man. There you go. Thank you for this. All right, now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Shout to my man Matt for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. I got a few more calls on the line. The calls are jumping. Let me get to those right quick. Let's go. 770, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Monica. How are you doing? Monica for Georgia.
All right. Everything's going well with me. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be speaking with you. Oh, my gosh. You don't know how many times I've called in the past and haven't been able to get through. So I'm excited to chit-chat. What I wanted to talk to you about was the whole coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever drama, and your viewpoint on nothing should have been shut down at all, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you on this is, what if, because to my understanding, and you let me know if you have the same understanding, the government officials did not know what this thing was, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know how fast it was going to kill people. They didn't really know who was going to be getting the virus, what ages it was going to affect, all of that good stuff. So how is it that they could have made a decision not to shut the country down based on really no information about it whatsoever?
Okay, so you're saying that, okay, so are you asking me how could they have not shut down since it didn't know anything about, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, by the time they shut down, they already knew what was going on. They didn't shut down until like March, because I remember when it happened, I was in California, getting ready to get on the plane to come back here to Virginia, to Tennessee, and this was like March 15th. And, you know, you could still fly around and it was all good. People were wearing masks and gloves, but by that time, everybody knew what was going on. When Trump decided to stop the flights from China, at that point, we were kind of still in the dark a little bit. But he knew something was going on and it was some kind of virus happening, so he didn't want any Chinese to come over here and spread it. But by the time they did the shutdown, they're saying, okay, you got to have social distancing, you got to have certain businesses closed down. By the time that happened, we all knew what was going on. So I think at that time, you could have said, all right, here's how you protect yourself. If you want to wear a mask, do that. If you are elderly, if you have an underlying health issue, you can stay home, or you should stay home. All they should have did was give us the guidelines that we can follow or not follow and have that be that. But then when you get into the mandatory stuff and the quarantine, that's going too far.
I feel like this, though. How is it going too far if it's only for a time? Because this is my thing. Trump, the entire time, what he was saying was, I want to open the country back up as soon as possible. He was saying that after some of us, like even here in Georgia, I mean, we wasn't officially locked down until about, I would say, the second to the last week in March, right? Mm-hmm. While some may have been quarantined a lot longer. But the entire time, what I'm hearing Trump say is, hey, I want to open this country back up as soon as possible. You have a lot of government officials who didn't want to shut the country down or their, states down at all. So therefore, I feel like, especially when there are statements made like this shouldn't have never happened or I don't want to be locked down at all, I feel like we should give them time to kind of figure out all of the ropes so then we can open back up. I don't really hear anyone saying that they want this to be indefinite at all, And so my viewpoint on it is be a little bit more patient because this thing has been causing deaths. At first, I can admit I really didn't take it that serious myself. And that's because I heard Trump, throwing some little side jokes about it. Of course, I can't rock with Democrats, period. But I kind of felt where he was coming from because of all the drama the Democrats have been starting, including this impeachment crap, which I want to thank you for all your coverage on it, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know what was going on. I hate the news. So I'm happy to have people who actually tell it like it is. So I come to your channel. I've watched plenty of lives when you were watching the Democratic debates, all that good stuff. So anyway, I feel like, though, going back to my initial statement, I feel like we should be a little more patient, because the country is obviously going to open back up, but we don't want to start and put that negativity in others' minds saying, hey, this shouldn't be happening at all, because I think that also contributes to and stirs up the, I guess you can say, the impatience that people have. This is where we are. So how can we spin this in a positive way to get to, our normal again, if that makes sense?
Well, I understand, but I just got to be real. I just got to call it how I see it. I can't really pretend and say that, we should be closed when I know that we shouldn't. Or in my mind, I think that we shouldn't. I just got to be honest with myself and honest with everybody else that listens. So I got to say that. I don't think we should have been shut down. And I think that. Yeah, and I think that the thing is, we can have some patience, but at the same time, patience ain't going to put food on the table. People are struggling bad. I'm talking about dumpster diving. It's rough. And crime is going to start to increase. You're going to have civil unrest. So, you got certain things that are pressing right now people need. They need housing, they need food, they need clothing, they need to be able to have their job. People are struggling, and it's like, all right, how long do we say to people that are struggling badly to just hold on and wait? I think people want to get back.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my view. That's what I'm really thinking about when I say things like this. Because this is about me, then I'll be all right. I'm straight. But a lot of people are struggling badly. I'm thinking about them.
I totally get what you're saying. So I have one more little thing I want to hear your thoughts on about this. So say, for instance, even with restaurants, food, and all of that good stuff. So we kind of now have an idea, of course, how this virus is spreading. But what about with the restaurant workers and people who are over your food and processing this stuff in your stores? Like, has anyone, or you in particular, ABL, have you thought about just how this virus affects them, and if they have the virus, how they can pass it to you? You see what I'm saying? Like, my mind is there in that, I guess you could say, aspect.
Well, I mean, that could happen, but the thing is, that could also happen at the grocery store, because your food got to get handled by somebody. Your food getting handled, like, like you go to the produce section where you got vegetables just sitting there, raw vegetables. I mean, it's got to get touched by somebody. They may have on gloves.
That is true.
So it's like the same thing. So you could go to the store, buy your food. They got to talk to somebody, like the employees in the store. They may have it. Same thing with a restaurant or fast food or anything else. So I just say the best thing you could do as a person is to protect yourself by washing your hands. And, the things we were taught as kids by mom and them: wash your hands, be clean, and that's it. That's all you could really do, because you could catch a lot of different viruses if you're not clean. The flu, staph, whatever. That could also be deadly to you.
Absolutely. That I can definitely agree with. It's multiple ways to look at it, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it, because I wanted to kind of catch your views from my viewpoint, I guess you can say. And to everybody in the chat, really quick, because I saw them going through, I've been out several times in this, so I'm not afraid. It's just that I do agree with the shutdown because of how rapid it was spreading. So I was just coming from that, point of view. I was just out in the grocery stores just 2 days ago. I did not also buy a whole bunch of toilet paper. My husband and I have been shopping week by week. That has pissed me off. Seriously, and I do want to say people started doing that before, especially here in Georgia, before we would even put on whatever they call it, stay at home, whatever, so they were out buying up everything. And my last thing, ABL, that I want to say to your audience: parents, stop buying your kids Little Debbie's and get them kids some fruit. I just want to leave it at that, because Little Debbie's are selling out right now. I'm just saying. So I really appreciate the time, ABL. And you guys, every last one of you all, stay safe and have a great night.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, ABL.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. And thank you all for being here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. It should be in the description box, and it always comes down right here on the ticker that moves. If you wait for a little bit, it'll move to go to the next thing. And if you want to get in through Skype, there's a number for that as well. All right, let's get to the next call. Let's go 352, you on the line. Who am I speaking to? The number to call is 352.
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Grace from Florida.
All righty, what's going on?
Hi, I just had a question. Well, a couple questions. One of them was, do you think that this would be handled differently if Hillary were president? Do you think they would have shut everything down like they have, or would they have just kowtowed to her and said, don't worry about it, and just kept things going as it was?
That's a very good question. Now, like if Hillary Clinton were the president, what would have happened is that there would have been no Chinese travel cut off. She would have allowed flights to keep coming in. She would have just obeyed the WHO when they said, oh, don't cut off the Chinese travel. Everything will be okay. We don't want to engage in any kind of xenophobia and stuff like that. She would have just took their advice and not shut off the travel, so it would have been worse. Then it would have got to a situation where you got to shut everything down because you would have had more people infected, and the shutdown could have lasted longer because you would have had more cases. And at that point, when the WHO says, okay, here's the guidelines, she would have done that. So she would have pretty much done whatever she's told to do rather than being a leader and doing what she thinks is the correct thing to do. So it would have been worse for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. And my other quick question was, do you think that because of how China lied about when they were getting infected, that a lot of people have already had it or do have it, and we just don't know?
Yes, people already have had it. It's been here. I think even the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, said it. He was like, Corona's been here since December 2019. It's also been here in East Tennessee. I know guys that I think have had it before. And they said when they went to the doctor, they had an unknown respiratory illness. And a lot of the same symptoms you had from the coronavirus, they had back in December and November of last year. Because remember, when it broke out in China, they were trying to cover it up, say it wasn't happening, pretend there was no human-to-human transmission. All the while, people are coming from China. And when you go to an airport, you go to an international airport. Atlanta's an international airport. So they're coming from China to Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, and they're spreading it right there in the airport, and it emanates outward from the airport. You may go to the airport and drive to Marietta, eat at Chick-fil-A, and then somebody takes it from there, takes it to Chattanooga, to Knoxville, Nashville, and it spreads that way. So it's been here. Now we just know what it is, and now we're just being super hyper vigilant and a little bit too vigilant, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, too. Well, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to know what your opinions on that was.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, it's been here. This ain't nothing new at all. It's been here for a while, but now we just know about it. Because like I said, if it was already in China in November, December last year, and there were still flights coming from China to the U.S., obviously it could spread that way. That's how the virus is spreading anyway. I mean, if there were no planes, then we would not have it over here. It'd just be in China, isolated there on land. Unless there was a ship coming from China and, you know what I mean, people had it on the ship, but it's spreading because of air travel. Simple. All right, let's get to the next call. All right, calling on line 27, who am I speaking to?
Dr. Anthony, how you doing?
Everything's good, boss. How about yourself?
Dr. Anthony?
Yes, it is. How about yourself?
This is Doctor. I'm doing good, Doctor. Doctor, I've been trying to figure out about the deep state. I think I have an idea what the deep state is. The deep state, you remember when they're trying to impeach Clinton?
What about it?
That's part of the deep state. And also, I think part of the FBI, part of the deep state, when they're trying to set up Trump. Is that correct?
I don't know.
No, but come on, man. You gotta help me out here, man. You got me all. I've been doing research for over a week.
That's great. Hey, you know what? How about this? Keep on going with your research. You'll find what you're looking for.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay, so now going back about opening back the country, you believe that Trump can open back the country, or you think it's going to happen?
I believe you'll be able to.
So do you know that Trump has no authority to reopen anything, right? Do you know that, right?
Oh, is that so? Why is that?
Do you read the Constitution Amendment 10 Amendment? Just read the Constitution. You have no authority to reopen anything.
So why is that? Give me the actual reason.
Read the Constitution,
sir. Listen to me now. Listen to me, sir. Sir, listen to me.
Okay.
Tell me the reason why.
Because you read the Constitution.
Sir, I did not ask you to tell me to read something. I'm telling you to tell me the reason why. If you don't have the reason right here on hand, then say you don't know, and we'll move on. If you do have the reason, then tell me the reason. You got the floor.
I'm gonna read the reason. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, no prohibited by. Okay, I think I'm reading it wrong. I think.
Learn how to read, sir.
I read it wrong. Okay, then I'm doing the research right here, but I know they cannot do it. Okay, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, not prohibited by to the states and reserved to the state respectively or to the people. So that means that the state has the right to reopen, to decide when they want to go back into business. Not the government, not the president. The president has no authority over the states. Remember, we have a state. This is according to the Constitution Amendment 10 of the Constitution.
So you just kind of interpreted that to fit what you wanted it to be?
Well, that's what the
okay, I got you. So you interpreted that to fit what you wanted it to be. Okay, I got you.
I mean, you could put a YouTube video and then put the lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Oh, okay, not a lawyer now. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I've never said it, but
I got you.
could read and say the Constitution and the branch have no power over the states. So the state have the power to decide they want to open. So you can't reopen.
So here's a question for you.
That's all garbage.
Now here's a question. It has no power over the states. Then why can't people put their money in?
This is Timothy Quire from Frankfort, Kentucky. And my call has anything to do with tonight. What it has to do with is I've got a couple of statements.
Okay, go for it.
Our governor of Kentucky, Steve Beshear, or Andy Beshear, whatever his name is, has a stay-at-home order. And he updates every day over the TV. And he told everybody to stay at home and only go to essential places, emergency places, get food, medicine, doctors, whatever. Well, Easter Sunday, he's told all churches, you can have virtual church, you can drive up and stay in your cars and have a preacher in the parking lot, but don't gather around. Well, we had a church in northern Kentucky that went to church, and everybody gathered around, hundreds of people. They all got told to stay at home, and that got ankle bracelets put on house arrest. They can't go nowhere. Well, now they're trying to sue the governor because he infringed their First Amendment right.
Mm.
But the same ones that's suing him for the First Amendment right is against the Second Amendment right. Now, how can you be for one right and not all of them?
That's a very good question.
That sounds like, to me, that is hypocritical. And if everybody does what they're supposed to do, instead of these 20% idiots out here that still gathers around and goes places and does everything like them church members, I'm not saying every one of them's not holy or Christian or whatever they call themselves, but they're idiots because they don't care about other people's health, undoubtedly, because they're going and gathering around. And if somebody has contracted it, then they're going to give it to everybody else that's in that crowd. Okay? And then you got the elder people and the sick people that 90% of the people that dies has already got some kind of illness with lungs, hearts, diabetes. So they don't care about killing people, but they care about taking your guns away. And that don't make sense to me. And I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm sure you have thousands of followers, and I'm sure you have Kentucky followers. So I'm just wanting to make this statement to let them idiots know they need to stay at home unless they have an emergency.
Oh, so you're saying that? So you're not in favor of people being able to leave their house unless it's an emergency? You want everybody to stay home?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, you go get your food, you go get your medicine. You can go to your family's house if you know your family don't have it. You know.
So,
but when you go out into a park and gather around, because everybody has a right for peaceful assembly. I understand that. But when you got a deadly disease that's killing sick people, why would you want to take the chance on giving it to them or getting it from somebody?
Well, if somebody is prone to catching the virus, how about they stay home and those that are not prone to the virus be able to still move around and not be locked in their house?
Okay. Well, I'm not talking about locked in the house now. I'm talking about just going out for necessities. But how does the people that's prone to it know that they're prone to it?
I mean, if you have an underlying condition like diabetes, heart disease, I think you would know about that. If you're elderly, I think you would know how old you are.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, if you have that going on, you stay home. But people that aren't in that category, they need to be able to go out and still work, because people, you know, it's not just about trying to be greedy. People just are losing everything behind this. You know, you got how many unemployed? 30, 40 million unemployed. You're talking about Great Depression levels of unemployment.
More than that.
Huh?
Yeah, probably more than that.
Probably more than that. You're talking about Great Depression.
But I'm not talking about that, because I mean, people has to work, but the ones that ain't working, the government is trying to help them out with the unemployment and giving them up to an extra $600, and he's trying to give them people $1,200 stimulus, and then they're trying to talk about a fourth round of this stimulus coming out. So I mean, and the landlords is willing to wait on rent, and the utility companies is usually waiting on the utilities. You know.
Well, some people are, some people aren't, because, you know, it depends on who your landlord is. I'm seeing all kind of letters from people. They posted on the internet. They're saying, they're like, look, we know what's going on with the virus, and we understand, but check it out. Rent is still due on the 1st. The only reason why people aren't necessarily getting evicted like that is because a lot of the courts are closed, and you can't go through an eviction if the court's closed and if the sheriff won't enforce it. But it's still an issue. And the thing is, people might kind of be off the hook right now as far as evictions, but once the courts are back, they still got to come up with that money, and they're already behind. So it's hard to make that money up. And then, okay, I ask you this question. If you think that this is a good thing to keep everybody kind of at home for now, how long do you think we should continue?
Well, I mean, if you want my truthful opinion, I'm going to give you my truthful opinion, okay?
Okay.
My truthful opinion is to tell everybody, for the president to get on TV and tell everybody you've got 1 or 2 weeks to go get everything you need to last you for 2 weeks, and then we're shutting down everything for 2 weeks and get rid of this virus, and then everybody can go back to work.
So
they should be getting all this money out faster than what they should, but it's millions signing up for unemployment daily, you know.
So you think if we just stayed at home for 2 weeks and never left at all, that it'd just go away after the 2 weeks?
Well, if the ones that's sick is in the hospital, and the ones that stayed home for 2 weeks is quarantined and they showed no symptoms of it, then nobody's got it outside the hospitals.
Okay, so then what happens when you have flights resume from other countries and they come here?
No, I wouldn't resume them until I make sure that everybody done, you know, all the other countries is done.
So when is that going to happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because right now they're saying that India has some kind of medicine that's working that they won't give us. We're trying to work out a deal with them to try to get it or something. I don't know, but that wasn't my point. I believe in all amendments, all of your Bill of Rights. I believe in that. I believe you can have a peaceful assembly. But how does the people that's going to do that peaceful assembly know that one another don't have it?
I mean, that's the same thing you can say about anything
because
else.
Because you don't always show symptoms. There are some people that don't show symptoms at all, and they just pass it on to other people.
Well, I mean, that can happen with the flu is the same way. You could die from the flu, and you might not know somebody has it. You catch it, you could die. So, I mean, living life, you're going to have risks that you'll take. You know, you get into your car, you never know if somebody's on the road drunk or whatever, but you take that risk because you know you live in life. You take risks. It's just part of it. But hey, I got a lot of calls on the line. I'm gonna get to a few more. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Well, like I say, I believe in all the amendments, and I believe in their First Amendment.
All righty.
But I'm just saying, how do they know that?
I got you. Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate you, and I'll call back. It won't be soon. I mean, I just call every now and then.
All right. Thank you for the call.
But I'm gonna donate you some money though to help you keep going.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Let's get to a few more calls on the line. The number to call is 434-658-1220. If you want to get in through Skype, there's an email for that in the description box below. But let's get to the next one here. Let's go. 918, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Trey. Well, I did not think I was going to get on, man. I was just jumping. But I enjoyed you played that video with the Taiwanese interviewer.
Yeah.
I've heard about it, but I never got to actually see it. I've heard stories about it. But I wanted to talk about probably something you haven't been talking about. Peter King and Clay Travis got into a debate because Clay Travis was he does updates on the coronavirus. So they get in a debate, and it kind of showed that, Peter King is a super, super liberal. You know who Peter King is?
I heard that name before. Who is he?
He's a writer for Sports Illustrated. He used to have a segment called Monday, what do you call it?
Monday Morning Quarterback?
Quarterbacking. Yeah, Monday Morning Quarterbacking.
Okay, yeah. I've seen him before.
So they got into a debate. You need to listen to it. But Clay Travis brought up some great points. He was talking about, liberals like to talk about Trump, how he hasn't been doing a good job. He should have took precautions earlier. So Clay Travis, he's like, what do you think would have happened if Donald Trump in February, when there was nobody that died from the disease, from the virus, if he would have just shut down the country like it is now? Like, that's when the debates are going on. I think he was still getting in. Was it around impeachment? So if he'd have did that, he'd have been called a dictator.
Yeah, 100%. And then
that was like
you got the primaries just starting and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you trying to interfere with the election? And then because at that time, remember when he shut down the Chinese travel, you're being xenophobic. You don't got to do that right now. That came from the leftist media. So imagine what would have happened if he were to shut down the country. It would have been terrible.
Yeah. He actually brought up too also. He goes, and I remember at the same time, they were saying it was racist when he shut down the travel from China. He said Nancy Pelosi went to Chinatown in February to show you that nothing was wrong. So
that's right.
So he brought up some great points. I suggest people go watch it. But that's all I wanted to talk about. So great show. Thanks for having me on, man.
And thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
Shout out to my man Trey for the call. And thank you all for being here. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up, like the video, share the video as well. If you want to hear this particular video on your favorite audio streaming platform, there's a link for that in the description box below. It should say podcast, and it should be an Anchor link. And on that link, you can listen to it on Anchor, obviously, Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you want to listen to, it'll be available for you on there. So check out this particular podcast on your favorite audio streaming platform. All right. Now let's get to the next call. Let's go to 301. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Benjamin Bussey. I'm trying to Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I got some audio in the background. Turn it down for me.
Okay, yeah, I did. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Benjamin Bussey, man, from Tacoma Park. I just want to share some more information on this HR 5717, and that's this gun bill they got coming out, and it's a very serious infringement on the right to bear arms. What it effectively do is just dismantle just buying a gun, any type of gun. It's the law. It's like 1,000 pages long. And I just want to challenge a lot of, sharper-minded people than myself that they're challenging to look at this bill. HR 5717. It's a lot of good things about it a lot of good speakers on the YouTube that are really, really going into detail about it. And in it, you'll see how, the congressman's name is Hank Johnson Jr. He's a sponsor of it. And you have a number of other sponsors that are on the bill itself. So you actually see the people, the Democrats who will put this bill together to actually destroy having the right to own a gun. And it's clever how they use it, how they must put their minds together to really put this thing together, and to actually, because what they're doing is, I think it was introduced in January, slowly making its way through the process. And one thing about Hank Johnson Jr. In 2014, he was named the most effective Democrat in the 112th Congress for his proven ability to push bills through and bring them into law. So, with that, I hope that people wake up and really look at this bill, because what it's going to do is going to just and look at the times that we're going in right now here in Maryland. I tried to get a gun, went to the gun shop. I ordered the gun online, paid for it, but then I found out that I had to go to a fingerprinting service, get my hands laser printed. I had to get an HQL. It's really difficult at this moment to get a gun, and even with the fingerprinting services are private services. They work for the government, but they're closed, so I can't even continue with the process until everything gets back going again. And I just want to say to the American people too, look, death is always going to be with us. And so I think what I see is they got us afraid of dying, and we're going to die anyway. But look here, whatever means we're going to die. And like for me, I think we should die working, die as patriotic Americans on our feet, taking care of our families. And for those who do pass among us, we honor you. And hey, look, I might even myself pass from the Wuhan virus. But thank you for your call. Thank you for allowing me time to talk to you. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay.
Shout out to the caller. Yeah, he's right though. Death is a part of life. You can't escape it. People are so afraid they're willing to do whatever it takes to satisfy their fear, including giving up all the rights they have in the world. A right to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, right to bear arms, all of that. Give up all your rights because you're scared. You're scared to go to church. How about that? But I'll get to the next call. Let's go 986 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Tim. How you doing?
Everything's good, man. I got a little bit of feedback in the background. Can you turn it down for me?
Yep, no problem. Running a little bit of a time delay. Yeah, this is Tim. I'm out of Michigan.
All righty. So what's going on?
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Hispanic caller who was talking about Trump's power. Now, I'm a Trump voter and an absolute Trump supporter. Let me start out with that. What he's saying is fundamentally right, but we got this whole FEMA issue of the national emergency, and that does give Trump more powers than he normally would. But what this conversation really needs to begin with is the foundation, the structure. And without understanding that, we could talk about constitutional rights and Bill of Rights and all this stuff all day long, but it isn't going to make a big difference until we really understand the foundation. And the reason I say he's right is originally we had 13 colonies. There was no federal government. Those were 13 colonies that become states. They made their own state constitutions, and between them, they formed the federal government. And the reason this is important is it was the people in each colony that created each state. The people had the power. They created the state, and through the states created the federal government. So the way we got to look at this, there was a Jamie Foxx or one of the comedians when Obama was president said Michelle and Barack are like the mom and dad. Horse shit. That hasn't changed.
Oh, you can't cuss.
I'm sorry. I apologize. The reason that's changed, or that's crap, is for the very reason is we the people create the constitution of our states, and that state constitution then come together with the other states and form the federal government. So it's a power line of succession. We the people are first. The states are created through us, and the federal government is created through the states. Now, the federal government does have more authority, and we can get into Arbery versus Madison if people really want to split that hair. But even in Marbury versus Madison, it strictly said there's no more power that the federal government has than what was already allotted to it at the time in the first 10th Amendment, which the 9th and 10th, which the previous caller was bringing up, is what says what has not already been allotted to the federal government then gives us or the state those other rights.
Okay.
That's a lot to unpack, I know.
Yeah, it is a lot. I mean, was there a question there for me? And also, I'm on speaker. It's causing the feedback loop. Take it off of me.
I'll get rid of that. Yep, I'll get rid of that.
All right. So, was there a question in there? I'm not really sure.
Was Trump taking away power, or you're saying that he can undo the thing and allow these states to go?
Well, I mean, Trump can only give recommendations. Like what's happening right now is that Trump is giving out recommendations and guidelines that states can implement how they see fit. Different states are doing different things. Like in Virginia, they're talking about having the guidelines be up until June, but they're trying to get rid of it right now. Like in Texas, they're trying to get rid of it right now in Texas, according to the governor, Greg Abbott. So it depends upon the state and what they're going to do. Let's go back to what you were saying about the states having more power than the federal government. So it's really up to them at a certain point. But then if there's some kind of law passed by the federal government, then that could change. But I'm not really sure how much it could change because states have a lot of power and how they implement laws and or directives that the federal government issues.
Exactly, yes. And you made the comment earlier about the federal government going in and busting dispensaries, we'll put it on the line.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they can do that is they have to get a permission from the state attorney general to do that act as the federal government. Otherwise, the states do it in the same way. The state can't call the federal government in, or the federal government just can't come in. The state has to allow them to come in and then do the stuff. And this is part of the 10th Amendment. The federal government doesn't control the state; they kind of oversee it, if you will.
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation. If you commit a federal crime, that's something different. The state can't prevent the state cannot prevent the Fed from coming in and making an arrest or like doing whatever they're going to do.
If you commit a federal crime, right?
Right now,
you're absolutely correct.
Because marijuana is still illegal federally. That's the whole thing.
Under the Controlled Substances Act, yes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so when there's that hair to split between federal crime and state crime. Federal can't come in and bust somebody who committed a state crime. The state can take a crime that they believe is federal and ask the federal government to look at it, and they can prosecute it at that point, which is why many state crimes turn into federal crimes. But yeah, this is the power of succession, and we the people, and see, I'm in Michigan now. My governor just put out orders. She wants to extend 75 days into July. So believe me, I'm all ears on what's happening around it. And I'm totally against it. Now, in Michigan, it's kind of crazy because she's done some crazy things. You can kayak, but you can't have a boat with a motor. You can fish from the shore, but you can't. You can fish from the kayak, but if you put a trolling motor on your kayak, now you're breaking the law. I mean, this is just insanity, first class, from somebody that has no clue what they're doing. That all said. What she's doing as far as this federal emergency, she asked the federal government to declare the emergency, and because of that, Trump does have the power, and until he undeclares the emergency, that is the authority. Now, and that I totally agree. But once that's done, I go back to what you just said. Yes, the states have the authority to do what they do. but they can't break the laws, and as our governor and many others certainly are. So the issue here is we, the people, really need to understand that we are the power. In Michigan's Constitution, and most states will have something like this, our Constitution, our Article 1, Section 1 says all political power is inherent in the people, and government is formed to secure their benefits, futures, and security, I believe, is what it says, or to, provide their benefit, or something along that line. No, verbatim me on that.
Gotcha.
But it makes the fundamental point that we, the people, are the authority. It's through our authority that we created the state constitution, which then created the state governments, which then came together and created the federal government constitution. And that's basically the line I wanted to put out there, because we really need to understand that succession of power and why we are the people.
I got you, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right, shout out to the caller. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. We got super chats on deck right quick. I'm going to read those and I'm going to get back to the calls. And thank y'all for being here. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, like the video, share the video. And if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Subscribing is free. Go ahead and do that right now. All righty. Shout out to, let me see, Beth Marie Evans, who says, if Cicero, Illinois is enforcing masks, if people touch the mask on their face after touching things, it doesn't make sense if they don't wash your hands. Exactly. People are wearing these masks all kind of way wrong. They got their whole nose exposed. They're touching their face and the mask at the same time. They're pulling it down below their chin and drinking they drink from McDonald's or whatever. I mean, the mask, it's just people feel comfortable wearing the mask, but they really ain't doing that much. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Colette, who says, I went to McDonald's today and ordered a cheeseburger. He said we were out of beef. Milkshake? No. Out of milk? Okay. Fries? Yes, they had fries. Are they accepting new supply of beef? Didn't know. That's a good question. I don't really know, but thank you for your donation. They're probably getting hit up constantly because of all these, stay-at-home orders. You can't really go get groceries when you want. Like, I don't know how it is where you are, but where I am, we had a tornado that hit. And then on top of that, you have a lot of restaurants that are closed. So the fast food joints are getting beat down because people will normally go to the restaurants. See, it's all kind of problems that this whole stay-at-home order does. It makes people don't really understand that aren't really out there in the world to see it. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Ramu Entertainment, who says, if Hillary was president, Bill Gates would get his way. You're right about that. Whatever the deep state swamp, whatever they want to call it, wants to do, Hillary's all for it. But shout out to Hanzo, who says, I remember you warning about the Chinese in Africa on O'Shea's channel and how racist and expansionist they are. One of them dudes you were sidestepping the situation while blaming white colonialism. Exactly. They were trying to say, oh, no, it's the white colonialism. It's like the Chinese don't care at all. The European were better for Africa than the Chinese because the European would come in there and colonialize and take stuff, but they would give something back. You still have structures that the Europeans built that are still there to this day. Okay, that's a fact. But the Chinese, they are doing the same thing Europeans did, but worse because they're not giving anything back. A story I always tell about this gold mine. I forget where it was, a specific country, but there was a gold mine that the Europeans had opened in Africa. When they opened the mine, which was not there before, it was just, some land, might have had some rocks, and that's it. They opened the gold mine up. And of course, they're, taking the gold for themselves or whatever, but they are giving Africans jobs there. There was a pool. You could swim in the pool. You're a local or whatever. It was open to the community. Not saying it's right that they had the gold mine and the Africans didn't, but it wasn't no gold mine there before. There was no equipment to mine the gold or whatever. So the Europeans did a good thing by having the gold mine there and letting the Africans work there and participate in it. Now, after the Europeans leave, after colonialism, the gold mine closes for whatever the reason may be. The Chinese come in and reopen the gold mine. Now, when the Chinese come in, they bring in their own people to work there. And there's no participation from the Africans. It's a big gate. Ain't nobody coming in there but the Chinese from China. There's no pool, none of that. They take all the gold, send it back to China, and you get nothing as a result. They do the same thing all over Africa. They give out big bags of money to African nations, and there's no quote unquote strings attached, but they go both ways. See, when the Europeans or Americans give African nations money, there are strings attached, but it goes both ways to keep corruption out of it on both sides. So the U.S. can't do funny business, or the nations that they get the money to. You got a lot of corrupt leaders, so the money's got to be given in a specific way, so it's spent in a specific way, right? And the same thing can apply to the people that give the money. Both sides are going to be on the same page and above board. Now, when the Chinese give money, there's no strings attached, but it goes both ways. So the Chinese will say, okay, we want these 4 plots of oil. All right, corrupt Chinese corrupt African leader, General Butt Naked, here's $1 million. All right, and we'll give you a railroad for 4 plots of oil. Is that fair? Is that right? Ain't no strings attached, right? So it's all good, right? No, it's not. They'll cheat you, give you all kind of crappy stuff. They give you fake food, fake rice, fake cabbage, shoddy construction. They built a hospital in Luanda, Angola, and within 1 year of it being open, it was a big crack that developed right down the middle of it. So they couldn't use it after 1 year. They had to be outside the hospital in tents treating patients. You see what I'm saying? They give you shoddy construction, diseases, fake stuff, counterfeit food, electronics, whatever. But I'm to be told that they're better than the Europeans. That make no sense, but I'll get to the next call. All right, let's go. All right, calling on the line, 737, who am I speaking to?
Awesome, glad I made it. This is Luciano from Texas. And, I wanted to bring up you commented on the whole China thing, the Chinese McDonald's banning black people. You know what's hilarious? It's becoming more obvious over time that the media likes rigging racism as an issue. So let me explain. Racism can only be done by white people, right? That's already obvious. But see, it's not even that. It's just that if racism is done either by the royals, by the elite, by celebrities, see, the only people who cannot get away with doing racism are ordinary white men. That's it. It's only racism when those people do it. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's like, it's not racist if you're not white. You could do the most racist thing ever, like kick black people out of your McDonald's and in the entire nation of China. That's specifically racist, but the media won't call it that. But if you do a thing that's 0.01% quote unquote racist as that, and you're a white male, then you're a Klanman and you might as well just get sent up under the jail, and you're a total racist, and that's all there is to it.
Right. There's a lot of blatant racism unchecked in Asia, if you really want, honestly. I can give you some events actually in China. For example, the committee, the UN had a committee, and they had to talk about the elimination of racial discrimination. But they said that the law cannot define racial discrimination. I was like, what the heck? This happened 50 years ago. But America's super racist. Oh, and in 2007, there was a police an anti-drug force program, and they were doing crackdowns in Beijing's San Antulin district, where they were reportedly targeting people of African descent. I can go on and give more examples of unchecked racism, but the media's gonna give a pass to them? What the heck?
That's what they do. They don't really care. They don't. It doesn't really matter if it's not from a white person, and they can't make this whole big spectacle of it and make money. They can't talk about quote unquote minority on minority racism. It only matters when you're talking about white people. That's how the media is, and it's really a shame. If it's racist, it's racist, and it shouldn't matter what color the person is that does it, because that is racist, to ignore a person doing a thing because of their race.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I remember also back in 2017, there was like some, I don't know if it was China or India, some of those two countries, but there was like a riot, a very racist riot. Basically, they were wanting to do some mass deportation of Africans because of another crackdown, another drug crackdown that happened in a shopping mall. And again, we were like, where is the media on this? Only one video, and it's not even from a U.S. media outlet. It was from an Indian news media outlet. That was sad to even see. That it was another massively ignored racist event, ignored by the media. But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm starting to take racism as an issue less seriously over time. If we're gonna have this cherry picking game, then you know what? If I'm being honest, white men deserve to be racist, right? Because they dominated the world. It's not so much that they were being racist. I just think they were being extremist about their pride, conquerorship and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. I mean, what does Asia deserve to not get called out racist? I mean, they had a history of communist dictatorship. They had histories of undermining the democracy of their people, and they also massively censorship their people's media. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. And another thing, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but did you know? What was I gonna say? In China, supposedly, did you hear that China may also start, kind of like the whole Indian thing? China may also start doing medicine trade with the U.S. You heard about that, by any chance?
Medicine trade?
Yeah, something along those lines.
No, I've not heard about that.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but basically, they wanna do they also wanna do wildlife trade with the U.S. again. I don't know why they want to do that.
Yeah, we can just put a hold on that for now. I don't want no wildlife from China. I don't want no bats and rats and cats and dogs or anything that's been exposed to it. So they can stay over there with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the key point here being that, the media needs to either get on with the program or shut the heck up.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because it's ridiculous. I mean, it just banned black people from a McDonald's from China. What else is it gonna take?
Right, I'm with you.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, and just one last key point. Any race can be racist. I'm Hispanic. You want a truth bomb here? Hispanics, not only are they very racist, they're a very self-centered and altruistic community. In the Hispanic community, hardly anyone cares for you unless you're surrounded by family members and close friends. Otherwise, the Hispanic community is probably the worst I experienced in terms of social values. Oh, and they're very ultra-religious and against things such as gay marriage and women's rights.
Right, there you go, man.
But you know what? Actually, the good thing is that Hispanic immigration to the U.S. is actually decreasing, not increasing. If you want a truth bomb out as well, there.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Of course, man. Of course.
I know. All right, shout out to the caller. And shout out to everybody calling in. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I got a few more calls I'm going to go ahead and get into. All right, let's go ahead and go to... All right, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, ABL. Yeah, I hear you just fine, brother. This is Bear from South Dakota.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Was enjoying the show. I was going to call in. I actually wanted to talk about this Michigan governor a little bit.
Yeah, man. So what's your viewpoint on that?
My viewpoint on that is I've been reading story after story, watching view after view, and it seems a little bit on the extremist side, from banning seeds, banning gardens. It seems like the total authoritarian lockdown and just total hands-on injecting as much power as you can and trying to grab as much as you can. And take for instance, I read a story. I don't know how true it is today, but I only caught a glimpse of it. A lady who was exercising her right to protest got arrested, hauled off in cuffs, because they said protesting is a non-essential thing. At what point in time do you have the power to say your constitutional right is non-essential, therefore you can't exercise that right?
Yeah, that's a point.
So if we can't exercise that right, at what point in the time do we come together as a people and say, hey, this is a tyrannical type thing that we're dealing with, and do we do something about it? I mean, it's kind of a scary thing to approach, but
I think that people are at that particular point right now. They're approaching that point right now, and they're saying, okay, we had enough. Our rights be taken away every day, and then it's getting to the point where it's too many rights taken away. Some may be okay with some rights taken away, which I don't really understand, but some may be okay with some things. Then when you get ridiculous and over the top, that's what people get driven over the edge by, and that's when they're really ready to go out there and say, enough is enough. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you got an issue, I saw it out here already. I think a state trooper got ran by a guy because it was a checkpoint. Like, it's already starting to happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but you got to open the country back up because people aren't going to take too much more of this.
hey man, I agree with that. And it's only so much a person can take. And as a country, and I take it personally as a patriot and a veteran, I feel that we're in this together. We need to stand together as a people, and there's only one way to fix it, and it's us. We are what is required to fix this problem.
Right.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for answering my call. I'll catch you next week.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Definitely appreciate him. And thank you all for being here. I got a few more calls I'm going to get to. Let me go ahead and get on to it. 210, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. Thanks for taking my call, sir. I really appreciate your show and enjoy it.
Thank you.
You've had a lot of great callers. You know, I've been sitting around watching all this information go down, all the other problems that we've been having with the media and some of their misinformation. And I want your opinion on this. Since I've been researching, like the Bill Gates Foundation, you've got people like Dr. Fauci, part of the leadership, including Warren Buffett. You know, when you see these guys that are connected to this whole system, and then I go back all the way up until 1972 when I see poor Americans from all races were up under forced sterilization laws up until 1972. To me, this just seems like a huge eugenics program or population control. Because now you've got them talking about creating forms of digital certification that they want to create to prove that you've been either exposed and are cured or have the antibodies. And then you look at all the draconian laws like the Michigan governor has instituted. You look at what they do in California when the governor said snitches get paid for telling on your neighbors. This is what you see in foreign countries. I mean, I've seen this firsthand when we were down in Ethiopia. You know, so
right.
It's being played out right here in the U.S. And instead of everybody just sitting around, people like in Michigan, like they did today, need to be out protesting, need to be saying something, need to be off their feet, because all of this has been used against us, period.
I agree with you on that.
What do you think?
I agree with you on that 100%. And I think that you're going to see a lot more people do things like what happened in Michigan. There's one planned in Virginia on the 24th of this month. There's some things going on here in Tennessee. There's a lot of things happening to counteract this, the stay at home and social distancing, because people have had enough. It's bad enough that their rights are being taken away. And then on top of that, they can't make a living. They can't eat. They're struggling. All because they're being told they can't go to work by the government. They're being told they can't go out past a certain time at night. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's just a big mess. So at a certain point, and I think that point is right now, enough is enough, and people are going to get on their feet, go out there and really protest to make some change.
Exactly. I mean, and people really need to go research the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They also need to see the connections between Warren Buffett, the Clinton Foundation, and how they're playing this game. And the American people really need to just stop and start paying attention, because you look at Dr. Fauci, when he first talked about this back in January, he was on one of the news channels. I'm trying to remember the name of it,
But he was telling the reporter asked, so do we need to worry about this? He says, no, we don't need to worry about this right now. Just wash your hands and do what you're supposed to do. Just be aware of what may be possible. But then in February, on the 29th of February, he was on, NBC Today show saying, no, we don't have to worry. But then he tried to throw my boy Trump under the bus and say, we warned about this on the 1st of January, which was a bald-faced lie. So if people would actually stop, go back, because a lot of times the liberal media, they will throw stuff down the memory hole thinking you won't remember. The problem is they're losing all their credibility. And I like what Trump did yesterday because he threw it right back at him. He said, oh, this is what you said on this date, and this is what you said on this date. So we all, as a people, because this is our country, this is not theirs, this is ours. They are nothing but elected people, but they've taken power, and we've allowed it. It's time for us to start speaking up and start calling in and start going to their offices and stand in front of them and say enough is enough. And ABL, I just want to thank you for taking my call. Your show totally rocks. I watch it every time you're on, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right. Shout out to the caller. I appreciate him. Let's get to some more calls. And you guys know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Let's go. Oh, I had somebody, but I just close to the trigger. All right. Let's go. All right. Let's try 219. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 219.
Hello?
Yes, caller. Who am I speaking to?
You're talking to John?
All right, John. I got a little bit of feedback in the background. Turn it down for me.
Yeah. How about now?
All righty.
Hey, I want to talk about, my mom was bringing up something today. A lot of people in our neighborhood's panicking because they said that more young black men were dying from the COVID than anyone else. And I was wondering, is there any truth to this, or is this just a panic thing, or?
Well, I don't know about more young black men, but I think that in certain places there's more black folks that are catching it and dying than other races. Now, there could be reasons for this because, like I was saying earlier, you have underlying health conditions that could contribute to it. Matter of fact, I think I saw the doctor, Surgeon General Jerome Adams, talk about it. He was like, the underlying issues could be at fault. You're talking about heart disease, diabetes, anything with your lungs like asthma. Those are pre-existing conditions. So if we get it and you got diabetes, you got high blood pressure, stuff like that, that could put you at high risk. And a lot of black folks, our diet is something that would make us be prone to those types of illnesses. So I think that could be a part of the reason why you may see the corona deaths higher among black population than other populations in certain places.
Okay, well, one of our friends we grew up with, Dottie and Jerry Pankey's son Larry died in Michigan City, Indiana. And, he went in there, he was in there for like 3 days and they pronounced him dead. Now, I'm not for sure on this or not, but I heard that he might have had sickle cell anemia. And what I was wondering, would that, like, if you got something like that, is that pretty much a death sentence for people, or is anybody looking into this, or what the statistics are on something like that?
I don't know about sickle cell anemia as far as it being a contributing factor or an underlying issue of the coronavirus, so I couldn't answer that question. But it's possible, and of course, sickle cell is something that a lot of black folks have, or we have the gene for. It's just a genetic thing. So that could, if that is a contributing factor, then we have a lot of it. So that could be a reason why we're higher.
Yeah, I just don't like how the medical field is going against when somebody gives us hope, and then you hear like the Z-Packs and whatever the stuff is called is helping people, and the news is going on and saying it's bad for you. Now I see on CNN they're saying it's good for you now, and so I think that this medicine is good for us, and we shouldn't be scared to try it. I mean, at least if you ain't got nothing else to lose, I mean, what they're gonna hurt if they're, what I mean. Call your doctors up or whatever if you think you need it, and what could it hurt? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the problem. Like, if you already have it and you're declining rapidly, because the thing about it is there may be some alternative treatments you can do, like some kind of regimen. But if you're going down rapidly, which is a big part of this issue, if you don't have a lot of time to fight it, take the pack, take the Z pack, take the hydroxychloroquine or whatever, and then see if it works. Because at that point, you don't have much time to
What
be
do you got
trying
to
to
lose?
Yeah, but you got to lose because time is against you. Time is not on your side. So you got to go ahead and try something. If it doesn't work, then it
Right.
doesn't work. But if it does, then your life is saved.
Another thing, I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet or not, but what about this Atlas comet that's coming around? And then I also heard Yellowstone was a size of areas. Chicago was moving up and down. I mean, this almost seems like too much. I'm saying the comet's supposed to hit the Earth, and now Yellowstone's supposed to blow up. And this COVID-19, it seems like they're just spreading so much fear and panic right now that people are just, it's too much for everyone. Has anybody else talked about that yet, or is it something that anybody else has looked into?
I've heard about that occasionally, but that ain't really nothing that people are worried about. I don't think. I think people that bring that up are just kind of aiding in the hysteria, which we don't really need right now because there's always some kind of comment. Yeah, no, it's all right. But I'm just saying the people that do it, not you. But people, they talk about stuff like comets hitting, but comets always come past the Earth. It's not anything new. And meteors, same thing. And then also with the Yellowstone, that's always the issue. It's a volcano right there, so it could blow at any moment. But I think what people should do is just kind of not live in fear and just live their life.
Right. Get out there and get back to work. Get doing what you're doing. You're right.
That's
well,
right.
I appreciate it, ABL. Love your show. You're a great guy. Thanks a lot for everything.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. Right on.
All right. Shout out to the caller. 804, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
NYC calling them again.
All righty. What's going on?
Basically, I don't understand how the lobbyists go and lobby to Congress, who's supposed to work for the American people, and how come the American people aren't lobbying Congress to represent them versus Congress coming up with what they want to do, which is not in sync with what the American people want to do. So we have all these rights and all these all this constitutionality and all these different things, but we're not executing it as a people. So, and then we wonder why a closed mouth is not getting fed again. And then as far as the voters, we definitely have to insist that they either come up with a database that somehow can validate people being able to either email that information with cross-reference through an IP or some type of voice recognition or some type of cross-reference where people who can't go out and physically vote that can vote. But we should not allow any type of mail-in voting. We should insist on no mail-in voting because of all of the fraud and all of the illegals that are occupying, and the purpose of them being here is for them to do the voting fraud. So we have to come up with something to recommend it to our government that's sufficient for us to be able to vote legally, because that was a big thing for African Americans and all the plight that we had to go through in order to vote. So for somebody and anybody taking our voter rights for granted is not acceptable by any way. And we have to be a lot more aggressive with these politicians, because now we see the guy, Blackface, whatever his name is in Virginia, has slid in, taking away people's rights to carry arms. We have to get out and absolutely remove these people from office. We have to petition that they get out of office by signing petitions. We have to go out and rally to get these people out of office. They do not represent us. They are the enemy of the people, because they're not representing people. They're representing their lobbyists, their own agendas, their authority. They think that they have an authority over us and that we are modern slaves, which is unacceptable. And we have not done anything in this country except probably not even electing these people. These people are electing themselves because of the mail-in voter fraud that they get to execute every time that we vote here in this country. But we have to stop this. We have to stop it from the Board of Education, all of our legislation. Legislators, we have to get these people out of the offices. These people have to go. We have to demand this. We have to stop these people from railroading our jail systems, our educational systems, and now they're infringing on whether we can go outside. How dare they? And they get to go outside. And no way do we accept any type of vaccination, because vaccinations are deliberately, I believe, they're deliberately inserted in people that they have bad reactions to them. I'm a person that does not take medicine unless it's extremely necessary. Take very, very little of it because I don't trust it. And now I know why, because of where it's being manufactured. That's just an inner thought of my own that I don't take medicine like that. We as a people have to stop it. The same way Charlotte went out and everybody went out and tried to and basically we going back to work. We're not going to allow this governor, these crazy people that's supposed to be representing the people, making up these demands on us. And then who are they? They have literally had the opportunity to stack their shelves with our money by fraud, by all kind of backdoor deals that they do. We the people are poor, paycheck to paycheck. They send $500 million for the WHO, who basically takes luxury trips, hotels, dining, and everything else, does nothing for the people, and then they turn around back into the communities, especially the black communities and the minority. Let's just use minority communities, and have nothing. And then all of our education was infiltrated. You have teachers there that were English-based teachers dealing with all Hispanic students that do not even speak English. So no wonder we're number 29 or 39 or 109 on the list of education when we were not there 30 years ago. We were in the top, let's say 10 or 20 or whatever it was, but we led, and now we are following. And it's okay for China to steal our IP. It's okay for the companies to outsource all of our jobs, and we just said nothing as the American people. How is that acceptable? How do we keep accepting what they're giving us? We should be giving them an agenda based on what the needs are in our communities. We give them the agenda. We make up a business proposal and give it to our politicians, and they take that business proposal and go to Washington. They don't take the lobbyists' business proposal and go to Washington, who pay them to write these backdoor laws, to pay them to outsource and insource jobs. This is not acceptable, and we have got to stop accepting what they are doing, because what they are doing is breaking the law, railroading us, because a lot of people do not know the Constitution. A lot of people don't know their rights. I've never read these doctrines, and these things we have to stop accepting this. It's unacceptable. We send too much money around the world for our hoods and our highways and our roads and our train systems to be antiquated and potholes as big as a manhole. I mean, we've fallen into them. It's unacceptable, and we have to stop. We have all these conversations. We got all these things going on, but we ain't doing nothing. If they can get 1 million men in Washington, we can get 1 million people in Washington to demand that they stop this, to demand that these people stop acting like we serve them and they don't serve us. And if they can't, the illegals are more aggressive than we are. They know how to get out there and rally and show that they're 11 million strong. They got to tell Nancy Pelosi to shut up and demand what they want from her. When have we ever cornered her and done that? When have these people got so much infiltration? This government is so filthy and dirty that it's so unacceptable, the embedded corruption that has been there since Nixon. As far as modern corruption, we have to clean house. Trump should have went in and fired everybody the same way Obama did when he got in there, the same way Clinton did when he got in there, and put all of the people that he wanted there. But I understand that he had to do it the way he did it to unveil the deep state. And the deep state is the deep-rooted corruption and the deep-rooted theft and the deep-rooted railroading that they do, and how we should demand our media to stop lying, to stop watching these people that are making people afraid of all type of hysteria. We have to demand these things. They serve us. If we don't believe it, we don't watch them. Then they'll come up with something new or some type of other channel, or we have to refer to people like you for our news, because what they're selling us is somebody else's agenda, and we keep buying it. And you can tell the education of people based on the news that they watch, based on the information that they are receiving into their mental brain, into their mental state. You take in what you give out, and if you take in a bunch of dumb stuff when you open up your mouth, you sound dumb. So they have to come up with some type of voter thing, some type of database where people can go in and validate whether it's finger recognition or voice, some type of recognition to validate that these people are alive based on a voter registration, because they have voter registration. When you go to the voting booth, you have to go over to the lady at the table, show her your ID, and then you go inside and vote. They have to come up with some type of database where they can do that with a telephone system based on your telephone number and being able to cross-reference that you are a valid citizen based on that telephone number, because what they're planning to do, they should not be allowed to do. And nobody wants to hear from these people, Obama and them, and Biden, and all these people are antiquated. They're thieves, they're slick, and they're wicked. And we have to stop accepting wickedness. We are people, most people have some type of religion, and we have to pray, because these are praying times, because these people think that they got it going on. They think they got the media in their pocket, the media is driving the agenda, driving whatever they want to say, and they're getting away with it, and we have to stop them from getting away. The media should also be held responsible, because they're not supposed to be taking gifts from politicians. Politicians are not supposed to be giving them gifts, because that's a form of bribery for them to promote that, and they are in bed and embedded with the bribery, with the corruption, and the whole thing with this media. And also 5G is nothing but a huge surveillance system, which is based on visual recognition. And they want, you can suppose it's something that you can just think you want the cab, and the cab will come. Where it's something implanted. These take down these towers. And for all these global warming people, if you're so concerned about global warming, then you should throw away your cell phone, because these cell phones are hot. They have a lot of radiation, and all this electricity that this country is in such a large demand of, is another thing that they should be so concerned about. And how come the elites get to ride around in their private jets and then tell us that we can't fly because they're so concerned with global warming? They wear all these different makeups. They drive limousines, Cuomo's back and forth in his 5-car SUVs. All these double standards, because they're dictators. They're the dictators, not us. And we need to be dictating to them. We need to be dictating to our Board of Education what we wanted. They need to be discussing that with parents. They need to be discussing that with residents. We need to have a resident board of knowing who and what's moving in our communities. And this has to stop. This all has to stop. And sometimes we got to hit the bottom, and maybe this was God's will to stop this economy, so that when we rev back up with new rules and regulations, not from them to us, but from us to them. Because Congress gave themselves a bonus, which they did not deserve. All that should be rescinded. And furthermore, every government official like Trump should be working for free. It should be an honor to serve, the same way the military don't make that much money. They should make very little money too, but technically they should make a dime. That should be your privilege to serve on these different panels, these different boards, and serve the government. And you should already have your own money. This way, if you got your own money, like Trump got his own money, you don't need no corruption. You don't have to steal. You don't have to be robbed. You have to do all this crookery, all this thieving stuff that they've been doing, because Hillary and them went near pretty broke, but came out pretty rich. And we can go on and on and on and on with all of that. Went in broke, came out rich. Maxine Waters is a disgrace to the black people, because she is a crook, and she's done nothing for California. And every time she opens up her mouth, it makes me so sad, because what a horrible representative she has been all these years.
I feel you on that.
She's done something.
I don't want to cut you right here, but I got to get a couple more calls.
No, I'm gone, because I gave you what I had, and I appreciate you.
Thank you for the call.
Have
Definitely appreciate you. All right, now.
Thank you. All right, then.
All right, shout out to the caller. I appreciate her. I'm going to get probably maybe 2 more calls in. I got to wrap it on up, put a bow on the top. We're almost at the end of the show. Thank y'all for being here. I certainly appreciate you guys. Let's get to the next call. 901, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL.
All righty. What's going on?
Not much. Oh man, I've been calling for a long time. Let me put you on. Let me mute this real quick. Yeah. You did mention something about Africans, about European and Chinese, the difference. I'm actually from Nigeria. I live in the U.S. now, actually in Tennessee, and you're on point. You're on point about that. I've been telling my people about this as well. Chinese, they own plenty of company in Nigeria. They don't show the Nigerian people how to operate the equipment. Instead, they bring their own people in to operate and just have the Nigerian just do the small piece of crap jobs, like the lower level jobs. And then they're making all the money from us. I actually mentioned this to my wife today, and she was arguing, well, if they do leave, who is going to bring all those jobs? Imagine all the people that's going to lose all the jobs. I'm like...
what jobs?
Exactly. We got people that go to school that have their master's and a PhD that can't find jobs in Nigeria because a few government heads eat the money.
That's right.
You see, like you said, they don't have any string attached. They just give them something under the table. And the rest of the community, the citizens, they suffers.
Exactly.
I'm actually, like, I was trying to get in find a way to get in contact with Trump, like, find a way to sign some kind of a petition to talk with Trump, say, come to Nigeria. We got oil, we got gold, we got all this resource. We don't care. We'll give you all 50% of all the resource, just develop Nigeria, because the network there sucks. You can't even make calls. I call Nigeria sometimes, and the call withdraw for no reason. We don't have light. You know, once in a while they get light. Sometimes they go weeks without light. We don't have good clean road to go to from point A to point B, and yet we have one of the smartest people on earth in Nigeria. We keep hearing, even here, that Nigerians are smart. Yes, we are so dumb that we allow Chinese and Indians. These are the two people that are taking over Nigerians. The Indians, they have their company. They bring all these Chinese leftover goods. It's like where they do the experiment.
Okay, I see.
I'm kind of sick and tired of it, but my people, they have this mentality of it's just the same thing they're doing now in America, where Democrats, no matter what the politicians do, they're always right, and Republican, no matter what they do, Republican is always right. It's like they're stuck to a party that they won't least reason. Like, wait, what have you done for me lately? How are you making my life better as a citizen? What? Okay, you say you were going to do this. Have you done any of this? Show me proof. Okay, what's more important to me? Jobs? Stay out of my life, right? Provide a way for me in case I'm seeking to better my life. Let there be available, just like Trump is doing. And that's why, like, most of my boys, they call me all type of names about Trump this, Trump that. I'm like, man, one day you guys will wake up and you will see that this is one of the best presidents ever. I wish Nigeria had Trump. At least our president was 25% Trump. Nigeria would be the best country in Africa. But right now they are suffering, my brother. And once in a while he'll get out of the country, go wherever he goes, he'll come back, and nothing changed. So, and that's why I just wanted to call when you said that. I was like, let me just call. And like, okay, the Britons were, because we were colonized by Britons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing air quotes here, we got our independence from Britain. And ever since then, Nigeria has been down the drain. Our road, bad, everything, my God.
Wow, yeah, man. I'm glad I'm glad you're able to call in and give the perspective of somebody that's from there. So, they could take it from you, not just me. You know, I'm an American guy, but you're from there, and now you're over here in the U.S. So you can see the difference in how things operate.
I'm like, look, I love Nigeria. Don't get me wrong. I love my culture, but I'm in America now.
That's right.
You hear? I'm in America now, and when Trump says my country first, USA first, I'm behind him, okay? Because I'm an American citizen and I want my citizen to be fed first before looking outside. You hear?
That's right.
And if I'm going to lend a hand to somebody, I need something back. You hear?
Right.
So all these are taxes. I'm working day in and day out, and they're taking my taxes to pay for people that don't even care or respect the rules and laws of this country. Are you kidding me? You see, the worst enemy of Americans are American. The so-called woke American.
Yeah.
This is the worst enemy. You see, Africans don't really give Americans any problem like that, but we are the least people that they allow in America. Yes, Middle Eastern, they give American issues. Even down the border, Mexicans and all these Hispanic people, they give American issues. They always bring issues here, trying to change American culture. Africans, when they come here, they just want to live and make life better for themselves, be to themselves and, do things. They just want to better themselves. We're not coming here to change any laws or rules in America. But other Middle Eastern, like Iraq, Afghanistan, and all those people, when they come here, they bring their culture. Asian, when they come here, they bring their culture. They don't want to change into American culture. They want America to change and accept their own culture. But Africans that just want to come here and make a better life for themselves, guess what? They don't want in here. They were talking about is, they should allow the illegal immigrant to come here. They just want to better. I just told my wife, watch this. Once they start seeing Africans come through this group, once they start seeing Africans come through this group, Democrats will say, yes, we have issues down at the border. And sure enough, once I think they saw about 50 or 100 or 200
Yeah, I remember that.
Africans.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Democrats, the so-called for, minority and stuff like that, oh, yes, start agreeing with Trump. Oh, we have issues at the border. I told my wife it was going to happen, and all of a sudden, it sure did. I'm just saying, these people don't really care about Africans. So, anyway, enough said. And in terms of America.
Well, I got a little bit of time. I got a little bit of time here, so you can,
I just one more thing.
Okay.
Okay. They're talking about voting fraud and all that stuff. There's an easy way to solve that. Everybody have their ID, right? So all American residents have ID. So we need to use our ID. Forget all these writing in vote and all stuff. So I would suggest that they give us that day off, whichever day that we are going to host an elections. Everybody should have those days. It should be a national holiday. It should be a national holiday. That way, everybody have no excuse. Everybody have no excuse not to say, I'm not voting. Oh, I was at work. They need to have a national holiday. It doesn't matter what kind of work it is, a national holiday. Because they're taking all type of holiday. We need this holiday for this so that there's no complaint. All right? So I would say if you know how to get in contact with somebody that has a little more power, suggest that, maybe you'll reach a good year, because I don't have any power myself. I'm powerless. You're a little more connected than I am. Suggest, having that election day be a national holiday. Nobody works, so there's no excuse say, I couldn't get off work, I couldn't do here, I couldn't do that. They should have, if it needs to be 2 days, give it 2 days. 2 days of national holiday. Nobody works. You have no reason not to vote. But there's no writing, no nothing. You have to be present, present your ID. You know, I don't care if it's 2 days before everything is counted. That way everybody have a chance to vote. And that will reduce all these illegal immigrants. Imagine someone, you know, leaving dead people voting. That makes no sense. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right. Shout out to the callers. You guys have been great tonight. If you cannot get on tonight, I'm sorry, but I got to go ahead and wrap it up, put a bow on the top. You guys have been fantastic. The best audience anywhere on YouTube. I want to thank y'all for joining. If you are not signed up to catch the podcast when I release it on audio only, there is a link for that in the description box. You're able to get this podcast on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, however you listen to podcasts, you can catch it on there. There's a link for that in the box. It'll be an Anchor link, but then it'll have other platforms you can get it on as well. I think I'm on like 10 different things. So it's just for you guys want to hear this particular platform, audio only, without having to, you know, eat a lot of bandwidth by watching the big long video. But thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. I got super chats to read, then I'm wrapping it on up, put a bow on the top. Shout out to, let me go back up here. Shout out to Ansel for the super chat, who says the super chat is being deducted from Michelle A's alimony payment. Anytime you can P and X off, it's a good day. Thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to Charles Turner Jr., who says, ABL, do you think any of the mainstream media outlets will go out of business in President Trump's second term? If so, which ones? That's a good question. Very good question. I don't know if any will go out of business because you're talking about big time donors behind them, and a lot of them they're so entrenched. It's hard to get rid of them. You got a lot of network TV. Fox? Not Fox. Pardon me. You have CBS, NBC, ABC. That's network TV. So it's kind of hard to get them out of the way. You know, they're entrenched, been around for a long time. So if anybody, maybe some of the upstarts, New York Times, maybe that might be on the chopping block. But that's not an upstart, but it's not like on TV, network TV. They can go out of business. So some of the other ones, Fox, places like that may go out of business. BuzzFeed's already done because of what they did, but that's a different story. So some of the online papers may go out of business, and then also CNN's going to struggle. They may have to cut more staff than they already did. But that's a very good question. Who do you think is going to go out of business in Trump's second term as far as mainstream media outlets? Like I said, network TV, kind of hard to get them out of the way. You're talking about NFL, football, basketball. They won't go anywhere. But, you know, news only places and establishments, online papers, physical newspapers, who's going to be next to go? Not really sure. But shout out to Vike Zupa for the super chat emoji with the fist bump. I appreciate you. Shout out to Say Hi, who says, another good show, ABL. Thanks, man. Well, thank you for your support. Definitely appreciate you for that. Shout out to JT Smith, who says, just want to throw you a few bucks, brother. I thank you. I take the bucks. And shout out to David Paula for the thumbs up emoji super chat. I appreciate it. Well, I think that'll be a wrap for me. So thank y'all for joining. Shout out to the moderators. We got Killer 699, Bill from the Hills, Omar Adams. We got Michelle A. We got Shreves. We got Ansel. We got all you guys in the building. Thank y'all, because you guys make the whole chat go the way it's supposed to go. And I think that'll be a wrap. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.